Mississippi Memorial Stadium in Jackson, Mississippi. Temperatures should be in the low 60s for this afternoon's football game. The skies are blue. It is a clear, wonderful day for football here in central Mississippi. They're expecting a crowd of about 50,000. Memorial Stadium holds 62,000, and it looks to be about 50,000 already on hand for this 11:15 Central Time kickoff. There are the Bulldogs from Mississippi State. The Bulldogs have a record of 4-6. Last week, they upset LSU, knocking the Bengal Tigers out of the SEC lead by a score of 16-14. But they have problems beating Ole Miss in this rivalry. The Rebels lead the series 45-29-6, have won 2 of the past 4 contests. This series dates all the way back to 1901 when Mississippi State won then by a score of 17-0. They call it the Egg Bowl now, and that's because it is a battle for a golden trophy called the Egg Cup. And here come the Rebels of Ole Miss. They are 3-6-1 on the season. They had a tie with Arkansas and were undefeated after their first 4 games, but now have lost 6 in a row, including a 41-17 loss last week to Tennessee. But this game, you can throw the records out. It should be a good one. Stay with us. This is Turner Network Television. As you see, number 31, Freddie Jonan, the captain of the Ole Miss football team. Ole Miss has won the toss, elected to receive. So we'll see the Ole Miss offense to begin here today. This rivalry goes all the way back to 1901. We talked to both coaches prior to the game about the meaning of the rivalry. First of all, Billy Brewer, and then Emery Ballard.
Well, it's 2 in-state Southeastern Conference football teams. They're less than probably 100 miles apart. And the fans, the people in Mississippi, are very competitive. And they love to brag about their football team in their season. So this is a bragging day.
It's a rivalry of long standing, and I think that you'll find most of the state of Mississippi is probably split right down the middle right now. And there are no neutral people on this football game. Everybody's got a side, and they're either for or against.
And that is the Mississippi State University side. They are on the opposite side of the press box, and they're maroon and white, as you will see them with their shakers. And on the near side, just underneath the press box, you will see throughout the game the Rebel flags waving in the red and blue of Ole Miss. Ole Miss and Mississippi State, the 81st renewal. Deep back, number 9, Lee Davis, averaging 18.4 yards per kickoff return. He stands on his own goal line. Artie Cosby will kick off, and this game is underway. Cosby hits it out of the back of the end zone. That means the ball will come out to the 30-yard line. So Ole Miss gets some pretty good field position here, thanks to the kickoff going out of the end zone on the fly. Let's have a look at the starting lineup now for the Ole Miss Rebels. Ken Austin started quarterback. He's playing a little bit hurt. He has 8 stitches under his chin. In his backfield will be 32 Nathan Wansley at tailback, Arthur Humphrey at fullback. The receivers starting the game should be Tim Moffitt and James Harbor, although J.R. Ambrose will play a lot, as will Jamie Holder. And Wayne Pierce, the starting center, along with Tony Rayburn on the right guard, Ross Genovese at right tackle, Clark the left guard, and Sheehan the left tackle. On a 1st and 10 from the 30, a screen to the right side is out to about the 34-yard to Andre Rogers, a surprise starter at the flanker position, knocked out of bounds in front of the Ole Miss bench. There's Ken Austin, the quarterback. Ken Austin has nearly 1,600 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but never has Ken Austin defeated a Southeastern Conference opponent. So today is more than just a regular game and more than a rivalry to Ken Austin, Jr. 2nd down 5 from the 35. Going on the run, complete for the first down to James Harbor at the 41-yard line. Harbor, a senior from Meridian, Mississippi.
We talked earlier about the strength of the Mississippi State defense in their interior line. I think that Mississippi has recognized that, and they're trying to open up the game early by letting Mississippi State know they're going to throw the ball to the outside to people like James Pearl Harbor.
1st and 10 from the 41. Mississippi State in a classic 4-3 defensive alignment that you see right in the center of your screen. And handoff up the middle for about 3 yards. Nathan Wansley, who has 418 yards rushing on the year along with 5 touchdowns. He's 5'9", 180. Has a brother who's a freshman at Mississippi State, and 2 other brothers who are pro football players. So the Wansley family well represented in big-time football. It'll be 2nd down 6 from the 45.
Mississippi State defense has made an amazing amount of progress this year after finishing last in the SEC in total defense. They are tough on the defensive side of the football.
2nd down 6. It's complete again to Andre Rogers, and Rogers goes down inside Bulldog territory at the 47-yard line. Andre Rogers, a junior from Lumberton, Mississippi, only 5'9", 180, and has been not really a vital part of this offense, Tim.
Earlier on, we'd seen Mississippi, Bob, they tried to establish the run in the beginning of the game and kind of pass as a counterpunch. It looks like they've reversed their philosophy against this strong Mississippi State defense.
They've moved it to the 47 from their own 30 here, where it is 1st down 10. Opening moments, the 1st quarter from Jackson. This is Austin under pressure. He scrambles well. Has a man wide open. It is complete to Ambrose. And Ambrose is out of bounds at the 18-yard line of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The freshman from Monroe.
You can see they're moving Austin around a little bit more. They've got that drop back rollout pattern. He scoots outside, they break containment, he buys a little extra time, and this man J.R. Ambrose has made more progress over the last 4 or 5 games than any other Rebel. He is becoming a real threat for Mississippi.
Ambrose comes out of the game. Timmy Moffitt, number 30, goes in place of him on 1st down 10 from the 18-yard line. Austin rolling and looking again. Almost intercepted, incomplete at the 9-yard line, intended for James Pearl Harbor, and covering on the play number 7, Kirby Jackson. Pearl Harbor has had an injury-plagued career, but he has got that great deep speed. You'll probably see him going long today, too, as Ole Miss tries to get that ball downfield a little more than they did when we saw them earlier on our SEC games of the week.
He's had a hamstring problem this year, Bob, and if it hadn't been for that, he might have gone in the first 2 rounds of the pro draft. He still might, but he's got explosive speed and very good body control and catches the ball well.
2nd down 10 from the 18-yard line. It is picked off. It is picked off at the 6-yard line by number 7, Kirby Jackson. His 2nd interception of the year. He was almost an interceptor the previous play, and he got it this time. There was great quarterback pressure by number 99, Aaron Pearson, right up the middle, Tim.
Pearson is coming. Melvin Robertson, the defensive coordinator for Mississippi State, believes in pressure. That time Austin gets the ball off, probably a ball he shouldn't have thrown. The offensive receiver has to come back toward the ball in that situation, though.
All right, we are in the opening moments of the 1st quarter. Scoreless game. The Bulldogs dodge a bullet. Now they have possession of the ball. This is Turner Network Television. The head coach, Emory Ballard of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. He is closing out his 6th regular season at Mississippi State, an overall record of 80-62 in his 13 years as a head coach. And he was the man who invented the wishbone, but this year he's changed to an I formation from which he runs the triple option. That's the first option, is to hand it to that first man up the middle, number 34, Kenny Rogers. Let's look at the offensive lineup for Mississippi State. Rogers plays out of what you might call the tailback position. Mikel Williams is the fullback. Orlando Lundy, the quarterback, who's starting today in place of Don Smith, who's hurt. Lundy wears number 1 as a sophomore. The receivers are Art Mordecai, number 87, at split end. Lewis Clark, the wingback, number 82. The tight end, number 88, Corwin Aldridge. We'll give you the offensive line in just a moment. 2nd down 7 from the 10. Lundy completes it to Mikel Williams. Rambles to the 33-yard line, where he's tackled by number 9, Lee Davis.
Mikel Williams, a senior, has got the good hands. He's a good blocker, but they use him and employ him in the running game and as a pass receiver. It looked like a blown assignment here for Mississippi. Then Williams makes a couple of Rebels miss and carries it up the field to the 33.
Where it's 1st down 10. 12:29 to go, quarter number 1. Hand off to the deep man in the eye, out to the 39-yard line goes Kenny Rogers. He's a senior from Northport, Alabama. Rogers is playing in there at the tailback position in place of Jim Cumberbatch, who started the season at that position but quit the team.
Here you see Sims and Joe Estee, who is not scheduled to start, playing on a bad ankle, and Corwin Aldridge. You're always going to see those players lined up to the left. Something that you'll see that's kind of the point of interest for the fans that are watching. The tight end will always be lined up to the left for Mississippi State.
Second down 3 from the 39-yard line. Bulldogs, scoreless football game from Jackson. First quarter action. Lundy on the option. They play him well and stop him at the 40. Freddie Joe Nunn with his second tackle of the early afternoon. Number 31 from the defensive right end position for Ole Miss. Freddie Joe Nunn is the man who leads the team in tackles.
Freddie Joe Nunn is definitely going to see some action in some all-star games this year. He'll be a high-round draft choice in the pros. At 6'4", he's got the speed to cover the running backs coming out of the backfield, and when he comes, he gets in the quarterback's face with that kind of height. It really can be troublesome to the quarterback.
He had 15 tackles last week against Tennessee. 3rd and 2 now for the Bulldogs. From their own 40, pitch to the tailback. He does not get the first down. That was number 34, Kenny Rogers, hit at the line of scrimmage. The Bulldogs will probably have to give up the football. Terry Williamson, the nose guard for Ole Miss, making the stop.
You're going to see Williamson come here and do a good job of coming off a block, and Fuzzy Huddleston is filling the hole. And fine job by the Rebel defense. They've played well early, Bob, as Bill Brewer looks on. They've played well early. In the first half, they've been in every game, and they seem to get worn out in the second half. They're not that big physically on defense.
Bulldogs ready to punt now. Hudson with the punt, hangs it pretty high. Fair catch signal by Willie Goodlow at the 22-yard line. He will hold it there. Ole Miss will have a chance to go on offense again. They drove all the way down inside the 20-yard of the Bulldogs, but threw an interception previously. Let's see what happens now. Billy Brewer, he played at Ole Miss. His blood runs Ole Miss red and blue. He is 10-11-1 as he finishes his second year at Ole Miss. We asked him about how he is going to play against this MSU defense.
Mississippi State is a good defensive football team, and they do a lot of things. We expect a lot of blitzes out of Mississippi State. We have got to move the football, and how we're going to do it today is we are going to throw the football an awful lot and mix in the sweeps, the draws, and screens along with that.
On the opening possession, Ole Miss threw 6 passes, ran the ball 1 time. From the 22-yard line, Rebels football. First down. Harper with the reception, number 25. Kirby Jackson with the stop, number 7 at the corner. The other cornerback is number 4, Bruce Plummer. The 2 safeties are 25, McKenna, and 27, Tom Nichols. The linebackers in the middle, Aaron Pearson. On the outsides, Leon Cannon, who's 42. Cedric Corse, who's 53. The 4 down linemen on the outside. The left end is 93, Gattuso. The right end, 78, William French. The inside tackles, number 65, Swopes, and number 98, Elvis Butler. Second down 4 from the 28. About the 31, close to a first down goes Wansley, stopped by 98, Elvis Butler.
I think as far as the defense goes for Mississippi State, one of the most difficult things to do for Melvin Robertson, who came in here and took over the job as defensive coordinator this year, was to convince these youngsters that they could play. They weren't very good last year. They graduated a lot of people. They had 2 people coming back off a team that wasn't very good, and now they've got a lot of youth out there playing very well.
Third down 1, double tight ends for Ole Miss. Quick handoff to number 40, fullback Arthur Humphrey. Gets out across the 33-yard line near the 34 for the first down for Ole Miss.
Emory Bellard, I think, was under a lot of pressure at the end of last season and early in this year, and brought in Melvin Robertson to coordinate the defense, and brought in Tom Good, former teammate of mine with Miami, who is excellent coach as offensive coordinator, and they really have some good things going on here, although their record's not good. We'll talk more about that.
First and 10 from the 34. 2 receivers split wide to the left, 1 to the right side. Austin throws it to Andre Rogers on the left side. Rogers steps out of bounds right at the 40-yard line. Penalty marker is down. Rogers. He has 3 catches already this afternoon.
Bob, they're running this play like a screen almost. Harbor is in the slot. He's going downfield, taking out one of the defensive backs, and they're trying to isolate Rogers out there, try to spring him, get him to slip a tackle. He could go a long way.
Looks like number 4, Bruce Plummer, made the hit out of bounds. Personal foul charged against Plummer and the Bulldogs, and that moves the ball way downfield inside Bulldog territory at the 45-yard line. 8:46 to go, quarter number 1. Scoreless football game. First down 10, Rebels of Ole Miss. Backs are Wansley and Humphrey. Here's Ken Austin throwing again. Going deep.
Got it.
There's Pearl Harbor. Down about 2 inches outside of the end zone. That's an almost but not quite. A 44-yard pass completion.
When the quarterback breaks containment like this, a good pump by Austin. That's going to affect the defensive back, but when he's got that much time, they're playing man-to-man on the outside for Mississippi State, and Pearl gets a step on Kirby Jackson. Billy Brewer was telling Bob and I earlier that this is the first time that Harbor has been healthy all year, that he can run freely.
First and goal. Inches from the goal line. One diving touchdown, Ole Miss. That's Wansley's 7th touchdown of the year. And for the point after is John Howard, who is 10 of 13 on the extra points of the year. This one is good. We have an Ole Miss lead of 7-0 with 8:16 to go in quarter number 1. This is Turner Network Television. Here's the touchdown play. Watch tailback 32, Nathan Wansley.
Going up over the top, they've got their elephant backfield in there. Arthur Humphrey and Robert Smith leading the way, along with Bobby Clark, Wayne Pierce, and Eric Sheehan up front.
Well, Ken Austin has just had himself an excellent day as you take a look at the Bulldogs who are lining up to receive the kickoff back there. Austin is 7 out of 9 for 105 yards, 1 interception, but he's 7 out of 9 and has driven the team down, and he's gone to Andre Rogers, who had no catches on the season coming into this game. And all of a sudden, 3 catches here in the first quarter.
And I think I might be able to explain that. Defensively, you're going to give the attention to the man that's been causing the trouble. When Rogers lines up out there to the side of the 2 receivers, they're going to give him single coverage. They're figuring he'll be man-to-man. They're trying to spring him.
John Howard with the kickoff. To the goal line, number 21, Rodney Peters, a freshman from Atlanta. Finds a little seam and is hit hard at the 21-yard line and driven to the ground. But number 42, Everett Blake's the strong safety. 6th defensive back and an excellent special teams player for Ole Miss. So there, the Bulldogs, trailing 7-0, will go on offense from their own 21-yard line. Let's very quickly give you the Ole Miss defensive alignment. On their front line, they have Webb and Freddie Joe Nunn at the ends. The tackles are Bob Blakemore and Benton Reed. The nose guard, Terry Williamson. The inside linebackers are Huddleston and Harrod. The corners are Lee Davis and Stephen Cunningham. The safeties, Barry Wilburn and Johnny Armstrong. Penalty marker on the play. We have a beautiful afternoon for football here in Jackson. It is in the low 60s. Very beautiful blue skies. Illegal procedure, the call against Mississippi State. I mentioned that the official's microphone is not working today, so you will not be hearing the voice of Jimmy Harper, but we'll be passing along the infractions to you from the booth. First and 15 now from the 16-yard line. Orlando Lundy. First start was last week. He throws complete. A nice diving catch by Art Mordecai out to the 29-yard line. Mordecai, senior, 6'1", split end.
Mordecai is the type of receiver that can lull you to sleep. Doesn't have a lot of speed, yet he caught a 58-yarder down the middle against Auburn. What he does best, though, is those possession types of catch.
Second down 3. Ball out to the 28-yard line. Ole Miss leading 7-0. 7:30 to go. Quarter number 1. And off to the fullback. Mikel Williams dives forward and gets the first down for the Bulldogs. Ole Miss, a ball control offense coming off the wishbone last year. As Tim has told you, they're now in an I formation, but actually run the triple option. You'll see a lot of the same kinds of plays that you see from the wishbone with this football team.
And a lot of interior traps. You almost can call them mini traps, where the center and the onside guard will double one lineman, and the other guard will trap and try to create a little seam for the fullback quick hitter.
First down 10 from the 32-yard line. Lundy with the option. This is where he's so dangerous. As you see, out to the 49-yard line goes Orlando Lundy, tackled by Cunningham last week in the upset over LSU. Lundy rushed for 115 yards.
115 yards and 22 carries. Not bad for a backup. He came in against Alabama. Donnie Smith had a great first quarter. Rushed for over 60 yards, thrown for over 100 yards. And this is the man that replaces him. And look at the blocking there. Great job. Number 66 there is Stan Sims, clears the way.
From the 49-yard line, first down, Bulldogs. Here's the option play to Kenny Rogers. Needs a block out there. Look at Armstrong string it out. Number 4, Johnny Armstrong, coming up with a big play for Ole Miss as he strings it out, makes the tackle right about the 46-yard line.
Johnny Armstrong has been the quarterback of that Mississippi secondary. One of the most knowledgeable players Billy Brewer says he's ever been around. Someday he'll make a great coach. Not blessed with a lot of athletic ability, but always seems to work himself into the right spot.
Second down 5 for Emory Ballard's Mississippi State Bulldogs. 46-yard line of Ole Miss. The Rebels lead 7-0. Lundy tossing to Mikel Williams, who falls down at the 45. Under some pressure, wanted to just get that ball over the on-rushing defenders and did so, but Mikel stumbled, fell. He's a senior from Leland, Mississippi, and leads the team in receptions, actually. They throw that pass to him quite a bit.
What they're trying to do is wall out the linebacker, keep him from getting out there to cover Williams. That's the play they ran early in the game, and that went for 20 yards or so, and they'll come back to it again. It's kind of a screen to the outside, Bob.
Ole Miss stopped Mississippi State on their last third down conversion attempt. Previous possession. See what happens here. This is third and about 4. Orlando Lundy. Almost picked off. It is incomplete. The official says it hit the turf. John Lowe, number 84, the man who came up with the ball. It was Lee Davis trying to pick it off. Official says it is incomplete. Another third down conversion attempt that failed for the Bulldogs.
Davis just does a good job in man-to-man coverage on the outside. He slides to the outside in anticipation of the O-cut. I thought Davis was going to make the interception there. He's in good position. The ball thrown down low. Lowe almost comes up with a great catch.
Good call by the official on that one. Very tough call, but a good one. There you saw 30 Moffitt to the left and 24 Goodlow to the right, ready to take the punt. It is a high one. Not pretty, but effective. Fair catch at the 16-yard line. That was Goodlow with the fair catch. And there, the Rebels, leading by a score of 7-0, go back on offense with 5:30 remaining in the first quarter. This is Turner Network Television. Ole Miss with a 7-0 lead, a 44-yard pass from Ken Austin to James Pearl Harbor down to about the 4-inch line, set up a dive by Nathan Wansley, and that's how Ole Miss got on the scoreboard. Austin 7 out of 9 for 105 yards throwing the ball here in the first quarter. The Ole Miss 16 on the option. Nathan Wansley close to the 25-yard line. Kirby Jackson, number 7, and number 25, R.J. McKenna with a stop for Mississippi State on Nathan, who's a junior from Moss Point, Mississippi.
Nathan Wansley, one of the strongest players on the Mississippi squad. Not a real big fella, but is a productive runner for them and a good team leader. And one guy that you're going to see in on a lot of action is R.J. McKenna, the weak safety for Mississippi State. He gets his nose up there in the running game.
Second down, 2 from the 25. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Ken Austin, who gives it to Humphrey, the fullback, gets the first down and about 4 more yards to the 31-yard line. That's Arthur Humphrey. He's the team's leading rusher, 430 yards coming into this game.
Nice job of blocking, cross-blocking there by Rayburn and Clark and Pearson. It cracks. If McKenna hadn't gotten back to put the wrap on Humphrey, he might have gone a long way.
Arthur Humphrey and Wansley trying to replace Buford McGeeves with the San Diego Chargers now. He's a tough man to replace. On the 1st and 10 from the 32, Austin's going up there again. Couldn't hold on. Covered by Kirby Jackson. J.R. Ambrose caught a 77-yard TD pass earlier this year. You can see his blazing speed. He is a freshman.
Kirby Jackson is in great shape on this pass here, and Austin puts it on the money. Throws it high. Gives Ambrose time to adjust his speed. Look at, he's slowing down, using his body position. And he just doesn't hold on. Earlier in the year, Ambrose had a problem catching the ball in practice, but he's gained Brewer's confidence by being more consistent in practice, and it's paid off for him in the games.
Second down, 10 from the 32-yard line. Humphrey is thrown for a loss of about 3.5 yards. Back at the 28-yard line, number 65, Pat Swopes, is back there. Swopes has 8 tackles for loss, make that 9 now on the season. He can certainly penetrate, as can his teammate at the tackle, Elvis Butler, number 98. You'll see both of them in the backfield of Ole Miss a lot today if the Bulldog defense is successful.
That's quite a tandem there, Bob. Butler is a little bit better against the run. 285 pounds, a big fella. Swopes has a little bit more quickness and can bother you more on pass rushes.
There, Ken Austin's calling timeout as he didn't like the looks of either the defense or the call that was made. He comes to the sideline.
Talking there to Robert McGraw, the offensive coordinator, also the offensive line coach, been with Billy Brewer for a couple years at Louisiana Tech and came with him here to Mississippi. You see the bandage on Austin's chin. Cut a helmet under his chin, put 8 stitches in it last week. He's taken a beating this year, unquestionably. They've had some injury problems in the offensive line for Mississippi, and Ken Austin's body has borne the brunt of those injuries as a result.
There's some question in some quarters as to whether or not Ken Austin will return to play football at Ole Miss next year. He's a junior, and he's a Rhodes Scholar candidate, an excellent all-academic football player. Is a potential academic All-American this year. He's already all-district academic, so he says he'll be back.
That Rhodes Scholarship can be an awfully tempting thing, and he is quite a student, and that's an important part of his life here at Mississippi. He is a student athlete, there's no question about it.
Third down, 13 from the 29-yard line. Look out for a Bulldog blitz out of that 4-3. They call it a 4-3 umbrella. About 6 of those Bulldogs. They pick them up. It is complete to Moffitt, the big play receiver, with a first down reception out at the 46-yard line. Tim Moffitt. They sent about 5 or 6 defensive linemen and linebackers in there, Tim.
Pearson was coming on that time Cedric Course from the outside. They were putting a lot of pressure on, but credit that Mississippi offensive line gave Austin time to deliver the ball, and look at Moffitt right on the edge of his fingertips.
The 46-yard line of Ole Miss. Rebels lead 7-0. 3:37 to go, quarter number 1. Austin rolling. Going on the run. It is complete to the 43-yard line of the Bulldogs. 87, Jamie Holder. Tackled by 27, Tom Nichols. That's the 12th pass thrown by Ken Austin in the first quarter.
See a little split screen here. There's Holder, and he's Mr. Look at that. Head fake to the outside. At the inside, breaks it back to the outside. Excellent hands. Gets the first down. They're going to have to make Ken Austin sit down sooner. He's buying too much time by rolling out of the pocket. Look for Mississippi State to start blitzing those outside linebackers to contain Austin's mobility.
First and 10 at the 43 of the Bulldogs. Backs in the eye this time. Maybe a check off by Austin as the backs go to the split. Austin's going to have Keep it in. There is number 53, Cedric Corse, the freshman linebacker from Atlanta. Corse is just a youngster, had to step in for an injured veteran there, Tim.
I think you're right, Bob. I think it was a checkoff, and tight end just has to do a little bit better job on that linebacker. Cedric Corse. As we mentioned earlier, only 2 starters returned off the squad last year. Most of these people in their first year of actually starting.
Second down 10 now. Robert Smith in fullback position. Ken Austin. Plenty of time. It's complete to the 24-yard line to that man again, Tim Moffitt, number 30. Jackson covering, and Moffitt had a great game against Mississippi State. Last year was USA Today Player of the Week for his efforts.
Every time we've seen him, Bob, he's been productive against Auburn, against Georgia. And this is what I love about Timmy Moffitt. I like a receiver with courage that comes across the middle, will stretch his body out and make the catch. There's a lot of receivers, when you start calling those patterns across the middle of the field, they get a little bit gun shy. Their head gets on a swivel. They lose their concentration, but not Timmy Moffitt.
10 at the 25. Austin has thrown for 153 yards already. And off to Robert Smith, the front man in the eye, goes to the 21-yard line, and down he goes. Kind of a keep 'em honest play by the Rebels. And I'll tell you, this is a different looking Ole Miss offense than the one we saw against Auburn and the one we saw against Georgia. And by that I mean we're seeing different philosophy offensively, Tim.
I think so, and I think it's due to the fact that some of Billy Brewer's potential has developed in the terms of his young receivers. They're now to the point where they can keep their head in a game. They know how to read coverage and get open, so he's taking advantage of that.
Second down 6 from the 21. Closing moments of the first quarter, and Smith gets inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line, tripped up by the right linebacker, number 42, Leon Cannon. So it'll bring up a third down conversion situation for Ole Miss now. Ole Miss is 2 out of 2 on third down conversion so far. You see the time running out in quarter number 1. Jackson, Mississippi Memorial Stadium. I would estimate 50,000 plus here today. The stadium seats 62,000, and it's virtually full except for the high end of the far end zone on a 3rd and 5. Austin into the end zone, incomplete, tipped away by number 7, Kirby Jackson, intended for 25, James Harbor. In comes the field goal unit.
Mississippi State put the pressure on them there. 3rd down possession. They blitzed the weak safety up the middle of the field. Austin buys some time, and look at Kirby Jackson. The idea is you want to get your head and shoulders around. That's what most defensive backs in college don't do. They focus on the receiver, and the receiver goes up and make the catch. Great play by Kirby Jackson. Got his head and shoulders around, went up, batted the ball away at the last second.
Well, these defensive backs for Mississippi State getting a workout today. That was the 14th pass thrown in the first quarter. Here's Howard for a 36-yard field goal attempt. It is no good. It hooks wide to the left side. And the score remains Ole Miss 7 and Mississippi State nothing, with only 34 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. This telecast is authorized under broadcast rights granted by the Southeastern Conference and is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, rebroadcast, or retransmission of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Southeastern Conference and Turner Broadcasting is prohibited. Bulldogs football. First down 10 from their 20 following the missed field goal attempt by John Howard. Here comes Orlando Lundy. Fumbles the ball. Fallen on by number 34, Kenny Rogers. You could see him carrying it out there like a loaf of bread. And as about any coach will tell you, that's a no-no.
Rides fullback into the line of scrimmage, and now he's looking for his next read. Sims does a nice job walling out Jay Webb, and linebacker comes and knocks the ball out before he can tuck it away.
So Orlando Lundy is the kind of, he's just a sophomore. He started his first game ever last week. That's the end of the first quarter. With the score, Ole Miss 7, Mississippi State Bulldogs nothing. This is Turner Network Television. portions of today's game are brought to you by your Toyota dealer at 1985 Tercel. Toyota's smart value with more room than any subcompact. We are ready to begin action in the second quarter. It will be Mississippi State ball. Excuse me, Ole Miss football. Excuse me, Mississippi State football. Remember, this is both of the Mississippi schools, folks. I knew I was going to do that before the day was over. It's Bulldog ball. You can write that down in green. The 24 on second down. A couple of yards over on the left side by 38 Mikel Williams. Benton Reed with the tackle. Another third down conversion going to come up here.
Orlando Lundy. Orlando was a receiver last year and a punt returner. Tom Good, the offensive coordinator for Mississippi State, said once he started at quarterback, we decided that we'd find somebody else to return punts for us. Fine athlete.
Third down, 3 from the 27. And Lundy doesn't get it. He's short of the first down. He goes down right at the 29. Reed Killian back there to make the play. Number 51, the linebacker. It's very close to a first down, but I think Mississippi State's going to have to give up the ball again.
Carl Torbush is really shuffling the linebackers around for Mississippi. They lost Dan Boyce a couple of games ago on an ankle, and he was kind of their quarterback and signal caller, and now the man that's picking up that slack is Jeff Harai, a freshman, a true freshman. And he's been in there with Huddleston and Reed Killian and Pat Brown.
Moffitt and Goodlow back to take the punt at their own 25-yard line. Here's Brian Hudson, freshman, with the punt. Pretty good with not much hang time, though. That's Moffitt at his 22. And he make it outside. Yes, gets a good block. Down the sideline goes Timmy Moffitt. Out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Timmy Moffitt had a long punt return last year in this game that brought Ole Miss to a come-from-behind victory. Dangerous there, Tim.
Watch this block by Mike Fitzsimmons. You're going to see 71 come into your picture right there. Bang, bang, bang. And he took out 3 Bulldogs. Moffitt turns a corner, and that's what you're looking for. You fight to get to that wall. Timmy Moffitt comes up with the big plays in the big games. We've got a penalty on this one, though. He's going to lose a little bit of that ground.
How many times have we seen the long punt and kick returns brought back? Holding is the call. Usually it's clipping. Holding the call against Ole Miss. They bring it back to the 26.5-yard line.
Moffitt made the big play last year. Mississippi was trailing by 17 going into the fourth quarter. They tried to block a punt, rushed 10 people. Moffitt was back there by himself. He ended up returning it for a touchdown to kind of get that Mississippi belief cooking again.
It was a 66-yarder last year. Well, this one comes back to the 27. Ken Austin on first down, 10 Ole Miss. Plenty of time. Almost picked off. He was trying to find number 6 Ambrose. Number 42 Leon Cannon, the linebacker, showing some speed as you take a look at Emery Ballard and the offensive unit for the Bulldogs on the sideline.
And Emery Ballard right there is telling them, folks, it's going to be a long off season if we can't pull this one off. And that's the truth. In a game like this, you've got to eat crow for a long time. It seems like a long time before you're on that field again. This type of game, that Michigan-Ohio State type of matchup, Purdue-Indiana type of matchup, Auburn-Alabama, so much state pride on the line.
Second down 10 from the 27. 7-0 Ole Miss leads. We're early in the second quarter. Austin, good protection. Screens right side. Nathan Wansley needs a block. Gets it. Drives to the 34-yard line. He's about 3 or 4 yards short of a first down. Pearson with the tackle for the Bulldogs, number 99.
Looked like number 62, Tony Rayburn, out there in front that sprung Wansley on that. Mississippi State has been so aggressive and upfield on defense. Mississippi knew they had to come up with something to get them thinking, to counter that explosive pass rush that they had. That time Austin did a nice job of acting and setting that screen up.
They've got an official's timeout down there, the ball at the 34-yard line. While we have the opportunity, let's mention that offensive line. for Ole Miss. We've been talking about the good job they've done as you look at Emory-Bellard, but they are from left to right. 59 Eric Sheehan, the tackle. Number 68 Bobby Clark, the left guard. Wayne Pierce at center. Tony Rayburn, the right guard. And Ross Genovese is the right tackle in place of the injured Greg Walker today. They're doing a good job protecting the quarterback. On a 3rd and 3, incomplete. The intended receiver, Jamie Holder, was open at the 44, but Austin just couldn't find him. And now Ole Miss will give up the football, and in comes their punter, one of the finest in the nation. As a matter of fact, he's only 2/10 of a yard behind Ricky Anderson of Vanderbilt, who made the Walter Camp UPI All-American team this week. Mike Harper is number 24, averages 4 yards per punt return. He's a backup defensive back who's returning the punts instead of Orlando Lundy, the quarterback. There's Bill Smith, number 10, 6'3", 215, former tight end. He can boom it. I rest my case. Harper at his own 15, down at the 18. That was a 51-yarder with only a yard or 2 return off the strong right leg of Bill Smith. It'll be first down 10 Bulldogs. They trail 7-0. 12:20 remaining in quarter number 2. Only a couple of games remaining, counting this one in our TBS Sports TNT presentation of Southeastern Conference football for 1984. We just had a great time with the finest conference in the land. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast this year. First down 10 from the 18-yard line. Mississippi State Bulldogs, Orlando Lundy. It is complete at the 31-yard line to 88 Corwin Aldridge, big tight end, covering 43 Stephen Cunningham. You know, big tight end's a cliche, but not on Corwin Aldridge. He is. Penalty marker is down, however, in the offensive backfield of the Bulldogs.
Looks like it's going to be holding on Mississippi State. Lundy buys some time, just hits the tight end dragging across after the 2 wide receivers have cleared out the zone to the strong side.
Back to the 12-yard line goes the ball. Matter of fact, now they move it another 5 back to the 7. Clipping is the call against the Bulldogs. They are in the hole here. First down and forever to go. They have to get it out to the 28-yard line.
Last week against LSU, they got the ball here, Bob. The score was 14-13. Mississippi State, the Bulldogs were behind, and when the film came back on again, they were ahead 16-14. They can take it a long way. They've got an excellent offense, but if Lundy doesn't get something going pretty soon here, I'd look to see Donnie Smith. This is Turner Network Television.
It's a beautiful afternoon in Jackson, Mississippi. Temperatures in the low 60s, sunshiny skies. First down 22. Mississippi State from the 7. Knocked out of bounds at the 12.5-yard line. Tackled by Huddleston, 44, and number 9, Lee Davis.
Kenny Rogers, a senior, getting his first really full shot at playing. Emory-Bellard and the coaches say he gets better and better as time goes on. Hasn't really played a whole lot.
We're going to pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. On the 2nd and 17 from the 12, Lundy. Down he goes at the 13 or 14-yard line. Jeff Harrod, number 66, with the tackle. It's tough to come back from a first down 22 inside your own 10-yard line.
There's Bob Blakemore, number 88, rushing to the outside, being double-teamed. Michael Portis finally breaks clean up the middle and flushes him out to the outside. Harrod and a group of his contemporaries drag Lundy to the ground. That's the thing that scares you about an athlete like Orlando Lundy. Not necessarily the design plays, but what he does with a broken play.
3rd and 14. Lundy. Incomplete. Intended out here at the 28-yard line for number 88, Corwin Aldridge. Once again, this Ole Miss defensive unit is held, but they were aided by a 15-yard clipping penalty. Moffitt and Goodlow will go back to take the punt. Brian Hudson. Ole Miss has 9 players on the line. They may go after this one. Hudson is standing on his own goal line. They don't pressure that much. He gets the punt away. Everybody's getting away from the ball. Moffitt signaling Goodlow to get away from it also, and it rolls dead at about 42 or 43-yard line. 43-yard punt from Brian Hudson that time. But excellent field position now for the Ole Miss Rebs. And Tim, Ole Miss, we talked about the Ole Miss offense against Georgia and Auburn being a kind of a ball control lackluster. It's changed a great deal here. What do you think has gone on with Billy Brewer and Ole Miss?
Well, I think that what has happened is some of his players have gained some maturity. They've gained some practice time. That's a young offense in there. You know, at times you can have 3 or 4 true freshmen in the game on offense.
First and 10 from the 42. Austin to Wansley. 2 yards out to the 44-yard line goes Nathan Wansley.
And as a result of being young, you don't want to put people in game situations too early, because confidence is a fragile thing at any level. And although you were a great high school player and had a very successful career, if you get off on the wrong foot in college, and then it becomes an obstacle that you have to overcome. So it's better to let a player develop a little bit in practice, and then when you see he can do it, put him in a game situation.
Second down, 8 from the 44. Ole Miss. Austin rolling and looking. Pressure. He breaks loose. Finally hauled down. Finally by Derek Richardson, and a penalty marker is down. I thought he was down on the initial tackle by Aaron Pearson, who just came shooting up the middle. Personal foul against the Bulldogs. Pearson had a hold of Austin. He broke loose, and then Derek Richardson, junior defensive right end, came in there and hit him.
See, Sigrid Torres there, number 53, fighting upfield. Wansley does a nice job, but Pearson had blitzed in that hole. It was primary contained. Austin fights away. Richardson drags him to the ground, and it looks like Elvis Butler comes in a little late. You see Torres coming now. There's Richardson 40, and it didn't look like there was a lot of contact. I think probably more jumping up and down than anything else. What'd you think of that call, Bulldog?
The Mississippi State Bulldog. Fine-looking mascot. He is primed for today's game. See the look of anger on his face. What is it one of the coaches said? There are often divorces after this game. There are a lot of husbands and wives in Mississippi who went to opposite schools. Whoa! Third and short. That ball is loose. It's fallen on by Nathan Wansley. He dropped it, and Austin fell on it. Wansley dropped it. Austin got it, but it's short of the first down.
Big hit, and that's exactly why Mississippi is throwing the football. Mississippi State is strong up front, aggressive.
That's why they called number 99 Pearson the hit man, too. He is a load. Mike Harper back to take the punt. Brett Brewer in to punt this time, number 3. There's Harper. Brett is the son of the head coach. He gets great hang time, which is the reason he punts on this part of the field. Is fair caught at the 10-yard line. Good job by young Brett Butler. Brett Butler, the former Atlanta Braves, who's playing down here. I should say Brett Brewer. We'll be right back. Mississippi State Bulldog football with 8:55 to go in the first half. Ole Miss leads 7-0. Came out here, it looked like Ole Miss was going to run rampant up and down the field. The Bulldog defense has adjusted. Now we've got ourselves locked into a defensive struggle at the moment. Field position becoming a key element of the game here in the second quarter. On the first down, here's Kenny Rogers trying to string it out. And look at those red jerseys all over it. They were led by 83 Benton Reed from right tackle, but you see in your picture there, it's 6 or 7 of the Reds.
You certainly have developed a reputation as a swarming defense, Bob. They get around the football. Some teams have tried to victimize them a little bit by taking advantage of that pursuit with reverses and counters.
2nd down 8 from the 12-yard line. This is what they call their slot right formation. They have that wing back, Clark, lined up just to the outside of the right tackle. Nothing going that time. Kenny Rogers goes down at about the 12-yard line. Terry Williamson, the nose guard, with the stop for the Ole Miss Rebs. Ole Miss defense very effective against the run thus far.
See Bob Blakemore, call him Conan. Got such a big, he's the guy with the fish that eats up the other fish. We told you that story the last time we did Mississippi. And
he's on his 3rd fish, by the way.
He's on his 3rd fish. We'll update you on that.
He is not majoring in fish training here. Blakemore is fish raising. 3rd down 8. Bulldogs from their own 12. Mikel Williams gets the 1st down. Out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Stephen Cunningham with the stop for Ole Miss. Clutch 3rd down conversion, the first of the afternoon for Mississippi State.
You had Danny Sanders out front of that screen. Lundy sets it up well, but watch number 62 get a block. You see Dan Boyce going down. Danny Sanders is the leader of that offensive line for Mississippi State, a senior playing his last game as a Bulldog, and you know he's excited about the opportunity to beat the Rebels.
1st down 10 from the 27. Go the opposite way with Rogers. He's caught from behind by 88. Bob Blakemore.
That's exactly what we talked about, Bob, the misdirection, trying to take advantage of that Mississippi speed. But what Blakemore does is he reads the pulling lineman. He forgets about the backs, reads the pulling lineman, gets in that, who was that, Joe Estie's pocket? No, it wasn't. It was Frank Harbin's pocket, and just chased down the running back.
There you see Freddie Joe Nunn on the sideline. It looked like they're working on his equipment. The defensive right end for Ole Miss. They don't want him on the bench very long. He is the team leader defensively. 2nd down 11, Mississippi State. Here's Lundy rolling and looking again. It's picked up at the 43-yard line. Ole Miss ball, 28. James Savage got the interception, and he was in place of Freddie Joe Nunn.
He was a long way downfield. Mississippi in man-to-man coverage here as Lundy rolls to the left. See Bacon 58 coming into your picture. Blakemore trying to contain Lundy, and Lundy lets it go. Savage makes a fine catch.
Pass was intended for 44 Elmer Wilson, the wingback. 1st down 10. Ole Miss from the 43. Rebels lead 7-0. In the 2nd quarter. Here's a reverse. Andre Rogers has the wall. Down he goes, and hard at the 45-yard line. After he gets the 1st down, Plummer and Cannon with the stop. Rogers, a big element in this game after not really playing very much all year long for Ole Miss.
Mississippi trying to catch Mississippi State in the blitz. They work that perfectly. You see Eric Sheehan out in front, Bobby Clark trying to get a block. Mississippi State gets back in to make a play.
1st down 10 from the 45-yard line of the Bulldogs. First man, that's Robert Smith near the 40-yard line. Aaron Pearson with the tackle. By the way, as you look at 34 Smith, Arthur Humphrey, the starting fullback and leading rusher for Ole Miss, is on the bench with an ice pack on his head down about the 35-yard line of Ole Miss. He was kicked in the head earlier. We are not sure whether or not he will return to action. Could be a key element, although Robert Smith, a freshman from West Point, certainly is becoming a fine fullback. 2nd and 6 from 41, Bulldogs. Following the interception by James Savage. Austin, trouble this time, down at the 49-yard line. There you see Swope, 65. Aaron Pearson was there, 99. Cedric Corse, number 53.
This is a kitchen sink blitz here, Bob. Good coverage by the Mississippi State secondary. Austin has no place to go, and the pressure is there. The idea of a defensive back is to make the quarterback hesitate. Take away the man that he wants to go to initially, as you look at Arthur Humphrey with the ice pack on his head.
Keeping a cool head.
Right.
Hope he's all right. 3rd down 16, 49. Austin under blitz pressure again. Excellent protection this time. It is complete to James Harbor. He stayed in bounds, but he got the first down. He almost came back upfield and lost it. But they're going to say that Pearl Harbor got to the 34-yard line. Plummer and Nichols covering on the play. And Ole Miss continues to drive.
You're blitzing defensively, and you're a defensive back. You're thinking two things. Take away the short pattern, and then take away the deep pattern. If they've got this much time to throw the ball on a blitz, they ought to catch that pattern. That's not the fault of the defensive back. It's the fault of the pressure and containment on the blitz.
What a good job they're doing picking up the blitz today.
They really are, and they're moving the pocket around. They're not giving that. There's no focal point that everybody can run to and accelerate to, because Austin's going to the left and going to the right.
First attempt from the 35-yard line, Ole Miss. They lead 7-0 late in the second quarter. Here's Harbor again at the 20, and he goes down at the 23, but he got the first down. Harbor looked like he may have, I thought he had a cramp. Obviously, he did not have a cramp. He had had some injuries earlier. Pearson got a real hit on Austin here, Tim.
Yes, he did. This is the way that Mississippi State is countering the rollout. They're bringing Pearson through that end tackle gap, and that time he really drilled Austin. Got his face mask right in his chest. Austin is stretched out down the field. Probably had the wind knocked out from under him.
And we're going to see David McKinney probably here to come in at least for a play or two. McKinney played the entire second half last week. If you look at Austin, it does look like, as Tim told you, it looks like a wind situation. Let's hope that's all it is for Ken Austin. McKinney, a freshman, number 13, came in and played very well almost the entire second half of the Tennessee ball game last week. But Austin's been hot today. 13 of 19 for 189 yards already. And Ole Miss can sorely afford to lose him.
It's interesting to see what a defensive coordinator has in his bag when he's being presented with a specific problem. Mississippi State's Melvin Robertson was being troubled by the quarterback rolling and buying too much time. Now, he felt to counter that by blitzing Pearson through that outside end tackle gap, and that turned out to be an effective measure. But Ken Austin's on his feet, and he's a gutty competitor. He has taken a real beating this year. They've had him sitting in the pocket a lot. They've had injuries in the offensive line, and as a result, there are cracks in that protection, and he has taken some healthy shots.
I guess we told you he has 8 stitches on his chin last week. There's David McKinney, 14 out of 32 last week with a touchdown toss. He may only take one snap here, though. We'll see. He's a freshman. Hands the ball to Wansley to the 15-yard line. Just shy of the first down by about a yard goes Nathan Wansley. They're going to leave McKinney in there for another snap or two. Jamie Holder running the play in for Ole Miss as we look at it again.
Once again, first down, you counter punch with a run. As you see Wayne Pierce, the senior setter, do an excellent job of blocking for that Mississippi offensive line.
Second down 2 from the 15 of the Bulldogs. David McKinney, the freshman, in at quarterback for Ole Miss. Wansley again. Nothing this time. Wansley stopped just where there was a hole last time. This time all he saw was number 99, Aaron Pearson. What an impressive football player that middle linebacker is. Right out of that classic mold.
He really is. There aren't a lot of teams that play a 4-3 defense anymore. But Melvin Robertson likes it. He moves them around, so you never know quite where they're going to line up. And at Texas A&M, they finished first in the Southwest Conference in defense 5 years in a row.
Third down 1, the 14. 1, the 14. Here's McKinney with the option. He gets the first down to the 10-yard line. The freshman quarterback keeps it. He's tackled by Aaron Pearson again, but this time after he achieved the first down yardage, and it is first down. They still have Ken Austin on the sideline.
Got a good shot of that Mississippi offensive line doing an excellent job of getting the Mississippi State people on the ground. But the Mississippi State linemen kept that middle linebacker clean. That's what defensive lines like the Chicago Bears used to do for Dick Butkus. They used to keep him clean, don't let the linemen get on him, grab people, and let him move laterally.
First and goal from the 10, McKinney. It's complete to the 3-yard line with the reception, number 87, Jamie Holder. So McKinney had to come in at an instant's notice when the wind was knocked out of starting quarterback Ken Austin. He has handled the ball thus far flawlessly and now completes 1 out of 1 throwing the ball.
You see that turn back protection there by the Mississippi offensive line. Robert Smith did a fine job of getting the outside linebacker on the ground. And then they get the ball to Jamie Holder, who ended up at Mississippi because he wrote a letter to Steve Sloan asking him to come.
It's the power formation on second down goal from the 3, Ole Miss. Nathan Wansley gets to the 2. We understand from field level now, our reporters down there, that Kent Austin did simply have the wind knocked out and is expected to return to the game. But right now, freshman David McKinney is running things and is facing a 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line.
Running behind Mike Smith and Eric Sheehan, Bobby Clark, trying to get some movement in that Bulldog defensive front.
41 Mickens, 34 Smith, and 21 Pitts. 3 freshmen backs in for Ole Miss on 3rd and goal from the 2. That's Pitts in motion. Pitch to Nichols. Nowhere, loses a yard down at the 3.5. Number 99, Aaron Pearson is there again.
He does cover some ground. As a matter of fact, Bob, there are 4 freshman running backs in there for Mississippi right now. A youthful offensive set. Their youth doesn't do much good against Aaron Pearson. Let me hug you.
John Howard, a freshman kicker, comes in. Both of these teams are youthful. We're not just hammering on that, but that is, in fact, the case. Howard with a 21-yard attempt. Sure stole that one. Missed it wide to the left side. 2 chip shot field goals have been missed by Howard in this game, but the Rebels continue to lead 7-0 with 13 seconds to go in the half. This is Turner Network Television.
The new American business morning. Faster, more fleeting, with time more precious. And UPS is there, meeting the challenge every business day. It's UPS Next Day Air, and that means getting it there. Keeping pace with morning deliveries to more people and more places than ever before.
UPS Next Day Air. Morning, morning, morning.
UPS Next Day Air, getting it there every business morning.
Getting it there.
Caring for people isn't something new in today's Air Force Reserve. They've been doing it for a long time. Hello, I'm Morgan Brittany. Air Force Reserve medical units provide backup for our national defense and at the same time give experience to reserve members. The end result is a professional medical team ready to go anywhere, anytime. Put your medical skills to good use in today's Air Force Reserve. Now more than ever, a great way to serve.
Looks like the placement was good on this, Tim.
This can be awfully demoralizing for a football team to fight and scratch your way down the field and then thinking that you've got a guaranteed 3 and having the kicker shank it.
First down, 10 Bulldogs from their own 20. Ole Miss leads 7-0. Only 12 seconds to go in the half. Here's Lundy. Dives out close to the 30. Let's see where they say his knee went down. They're going to give him the first down at the 30. Huddleston with the tackle there. And the clock ticks down, and that's the end of the first half. It's been all Ole Miss, but Ole Miss has failed to get it into the end zone on 2 of their 3 very good, actually 3 out of 4 opportunities inside the 20, and lead only 7-0. This is Turner Network Television. You're looking at the Mississippi State Bulldog Marching Band, the famous Maroon Marching Band from Starkville, Mississippi, performing here. We're going to be getting activity from both of the bands for you here at halftime. Last week, Mississippi State and LSU met in a game that most thought LSU would go ahead and win and at least tie for the Southeastern Conference. But the Bulldogs had a different idea. They went into the game with a problem, though. Their star quarterback, sophomore Don Smith, had a separated shoulder. They had to go to a backup who hadn't taken a snap all year, Orlando Lundy. And Lundy played a great game, and he is our Southeastern Conference Player of the Week.
The cards were stacked against Mississippi State last Saturday. The LSU Tigers were coming to town in search of a win that would give them a share of the SEC title, and the Bulldogs would face LSU without Don Smith, their starter at quarterback all year long. but nobody told Orlando Lundy that the Dogs were supposed to lose. The sophomore stepped in at quarterback and ran the offense to perfection. This 8-yard run in the first quarter gave State a 7-7 tie. Lundy would finish as the game's leading rusher with 115 yards on 22 carries. But Lundy also showed he could move the team through the air. Passes like this one to Corwin Aldridge helped the Dogs to 3 second-half field goals, including Artie Cosby's game-winning 27-yarder with just 1:15 left to play. Lundy's 13-for-28 performance was good enough to give him more than half of State's 441 yards of total offense. And the bottom line of Lundy's contribution, a 16-14 Mississippi State win over LSU. Our SEC Player of the Week, Mississippi State's Orlando Lundy.
And in the first half of this ball game, Lundy's 4 out of 7 for 52 yards and 1 interception. He's rushed the ball for 35 yards, our Player of the Week. And you're looking at the famous Maroon Band from Mississippi State. Dr. Kent Sills is the director of bands. Drum majors for the Maroon Band are Tim Avan, a senior music education major from West Point, and Stephen Pounders, a junior music education major from Aberdeen. Let's watch the famous Maroon Band.
The 1984 MSU Majorettes, rifles, flags, and feature twirlers as they perform the Lionel Richie hit All Night Long.
The Mississippi State famous Maroon Marching Band performing at Mississippi Memorial Stadium in Jackson. We're going to pause now for a closer look at each of today's participating schools.
It's a special kind of pride that a winner feels inside, a feeling that's sure to last a lifetime.
Leaving second best behind, your future's on the line. You've got that Mississippi state of mind. You've got that Mississippi state of mind. It comes from knowing states ahead of the times. A century of service to all mankind. Pride in the tradition is what you're gonna find. You're gonna get that Mississippi state of mind. Let's celebrate. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's celebrate. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's celebrate. Come on and celebrate.
Welcome to the campus of the University of Mississippi. Founded some 140 years ago, Ole Miss students live and learn in one of the most beautiful settings in the country. Ole Miss offers a broad college of liberal arts. Researchers in our high-tech fields are world-renowned. The Ole Miss Law Center and University Medical Center produces top professionals. Ole Miss provides a stimulating experience that includes the lively arts of music and theater. Ole Miss has developed the outstanding Center for the Study of Southern Culture and owns the historic home of novelist William Faulkner. Led by Chancellor Gerald Turner, Ole Miss is using its legacy of achievement to provide a vision for tomorrow.
Ole Miss alumni and supporters are ready to move. The institution is ready to go forward.
Athletically and academically, Ole Miss is offering its students opportunities that will last a lifetime.
I think it's one of the finest universities in the South.
It's just special. It's like a second home.
Following this commercial timeout, we'll be going back to Atlanta, where Craig Sager and Paul Horning will be updating you with scores and highlights from around the country.
Welcome back to the Action Center in Atlanta. Kentucky and Tennessee are getting ready to kick off in Knoxville. We'll be following that game very closely. But first of all, Mississippi State, like so many games we've had this year, a close one.
Sure is 7-0 here at halftime, and a couple of missed field goals, or I guess Ole Miss could have been breathing a little bit easier. But anyway, there are 5 teams still alive in the Southwest Conference race, but the Texas Longhorns are in the driver's seat. A victory today over Baylor will clinch at least a tie for the conference title. But it doesn't look like it's going to be easy, Craig, because Baylor, we see this is Baylor with the football. It's a defensive battle so far. Tom Muke, the quarterback, is going to get sacked here. All-American Tony DeGrade of Texas. Texas, on the other hand, this is Todd Dodge. He's going to be sacked. So both these teams in a defensive battle so far. Todd Dodge, of course, the slippery quarterback of the University of Texas. They're ranked number 6. Nice little pitch over the middle to Rob Merschel, and he does a real good job of running here. Picks up about 20, and this play set up the only score of the game, a field goal. Texas lead in the second quarter, 3-0.
The Atlantic Coast Conference title is up for grabs this afternoon in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, you got to hand it to Virginia. This team has never been to a bowl in the school's history, but George Welch has them going this year, now trying for the ACC title. Maryland gets on the scoreboard first on that 47-yard field goal by Jess Atkinson. It was 3-0 Maryland. But Virginia comes right back, still in the first quarter. Quarterback Don Majkowski keeps the ball himself on the action play, goes off right guard in for the touchdown, 7-3. A short time later, in the following quarter, second quarter early action, Virginia scores again. This time, Howard Petty gets the call. He goes in, and it is 14-6 in favor of Virginia. But Maryland comes back. Rick Badanik gets the call, goes wide, looks like he's wide open. Can anybody catch him, Paul?
Well, they can, but watch his poor tackling. But Angie goes on down the sideline. It's a good run. Nobody even touched him, really. The one defensive back, and he'll hear from it from George Welch next week.
That was a great move, wasn't it?
Great move. Terrible tackling.
Elsewhere around the country, Utah State taking on top-ranked BYU. BYU is 11-0. Utah State 1-10. This should be a lopsided one. Clemson has scored first on a touchdown by Terrence Flagler, 7-0 over South Carolina. Kentucky, Tennessee just getting ready to kick off. Pittsburgh on top of Penn State, 7-3 late in the first quarter. North Carolina, Duke, that also is just underway. Now, this is the day that the bowl invitations are extended, and you can expect 5 teams from the Southeastern Conference to be in postseason play. First of all, Georgia will be in the Florida Citrus against Florida State. Auburn, with a victory over Alabama, will represent the conference in the Sugar Bowl against Nebraska. LSU, the Liberty against Arkansas. Tennessee, the Sun against Maryland. And Kentucky, the Hall of Fame Bowl against Wisconsin. Of course, had not Florida been ruled ineligible, that would have been 6 teams. So it's been a great year for the Southeastern Conference, Paul.
Well, it sure has, and it seems like every year now we've got so many bowls with 18 or 19 bowls that you're going to find 5 or 6 SEC teams in the bowl situation every year.
Back with more scores and highlights, but now we're back to the second half of Mississippi and Mississippi State after this word from the NCAA.
We've all heard the news about drugs. They're dangerous, they can kill. But did you know that today's user is also the varsity cheerleader, student athlete, perhaps even your child? Drugs are on every campus in every high school. Your child could be offered drugs on her way to class, passed a joint in the car on the way home from a football game. The offer usually comes from a friend. Drugs make losers out of users. Help your child be a winner without drugs.
The preceding message provided by the NCAA.
The old Ole Miss, Pride of the South Marching Band. Their director, Dr. Luther Snavely Jr. The drum majors are Jay MacArthur and Melissa Lambert. You're also watching perform in front of the band, the Ole Miss Rebelettes.
The finale of today's show features the color guard and trumpets as the band performs the Barbra Streisand hit, My Heart Belongs to Me.
In Oxford, Mississippi, performing here in Jackson today at Mississippi Memorial Stadium. It's 7-0 at halftime, and Tim Foley, here's a statistic now that could make a lot of difference in the second half. Mississippi State was leading going into the second half, and all the conference games they lost. Last week they won, beating LSU, and they were behind at halftime. So they're behind here today, so I'll leave it up to you as the expert analyst to explain the meaning of that.
Well, you know, another thing that's important, Bob, is that they have white jerseys on, too, you know, and the teams with the white jerseys have won the last 5 years. And the coaches take all those innocuous facts, write them down on a piece of paper, and throw them all away. They don't mean anything.
That's for sure. Not in this game, that's for sure. Right now, Ole Miss is out in front, thanks to the strong passing of Ken Austin in the first half. He came out throwing the ball and throwing it deep, which is a little bit unusual, the early season Ole Miss team. Austin, 13 of 19 for 189 yards. This a 44-yarder to James Pearl Harbor, who had 5 catches for 86 yards. And this is Nathan Wansley going over for the only touchdown of the first half. The Bulldogs were driving, but Orlando Lundy was intercepted by a freshman, James Savage, to stop that drive. Ole Miss drives down to the 2-yard line. They stall. John Howard, the freshman kicker, comes in, misses the chip shot, 22-yard field goal, and we remain 7-0 here at halftime. On the serious side of what might happen in the second half, 7-0. Ole Miss usually wins this game. At least that's what tradition has showed. But this year, Mississippi State, Mississippi State was favored, yet they have not been able to score.
Well, Mississippi State's got a fine football team. Mississippi defensively has been strong in the first half. They've had troubles in the second half. So it's going to be interesting. Mississippi State has to come up with a way to slow down Ken Austin. He took a shot to the sternum at the end of the first half, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can come back and perform the way he did it early in the first half.
And it might be interesting to see if Don Smith, who had been starting at quarterback all year for Mississippi State, might play quickly. Do you think that might happen?
I think if he is healthy, he's got a shoulder problem, and you really don't know if his motion is going to be affected by that. I think if he's healthy, they'll get him in the game.
It's 7-0 Ole Miss. Who knows what'll happen in the second half? There have been some crazy, wacky fourth quarters in this game. They call it the battle for the golden egg here in Jackson. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Turner Network Television. first half statistics, you see the passing yardage for the Rebels on the right column, 197 yards, the significant difference there, and the possession time of 18:03. Penalties have played a role, and also field position, which we'll talk about in a moment. Here is the kickoff. It comes down to Rodney Peters, the freshman. He finds a seam. Good return from Rodney Peters of Tucker High School in Atlanta, Georgia. Eric Truitt with the tackle for Ole Miss. And that's the best starting field position of the day for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Previously, on the left column, you see they had started no further out than their 21. Ole Miss, on the other hand, had a couple of drives that started outside their 40. And Tim Foley, Don Smith, is, in fact, starting the second half at quarterback. He is the sophomore, 6'1", 195. Wears number 15. He was injured against Alabama. This is his first action since then. He hands off to number 34, Kenny Rogers, to the 43, and down he goes. So Don Smith playing with a slightly separated shoulder. We'll see what a difference that might make in the second half.
Sometimes, Bob, in a situation like this, different is better. Not that Orlando Lundy wasn't playing well, but it's just you need to change. You need to do something a little bit differently to get your players rolling, get your momentum up.
Don Smith has run for 9 touchdowns, thrown for 6. He ranks 7th in the conference in rushing. He is a complete player. Hands off this time to the front man, 38, Mikel Williams, tackled by 88, Bob Blakemore. They were trying to get that first down. It was second and about 3, and he only got about a yard. So third down conversion coming up again. There are the stats of Don Smith on the year, throwing the football, but his real impressive stats been as a rusher.
Right, he already has more total offense than any other sophomore in Mississippi State history. He's an excellent athlete and the type of player that you need to run the offense that they try to develop.
Third down 1 from the 46 of the Bulldogs. There's Mikel Williams, who gets it right out to midfield, and it's first down, Mississippi State. Jeff Arad with a stop for Ole Miss. Some lovely ladies from Ole Miss in their cardinal red and navy blue. Actually, I guess people in the color would say that's not exactly navy blue, but looking at beautiful women like that, who cares what the color is?
And they said hi to their dads. I was glad to hear that. I've got my dad here with me today, so to my mother, Big Mare, back there in Indiana, don't worry, he's in good shape. Take good care of him.
The chief is in charge today. First down 10 from midfield. Number 34, Kenny Rogers, was about 3 yards. While I have a moment mentioning dads, Kim Anderson, our fine spotter who's been with us for so many years, his father is recovering from surgery at a hospital in Atlanta. We hope that he's feeling well enough to watch the ball game, and we send our very best wishes for a speedy recovery. Kim's thinking about you, but still doing a good job. Second down 7 from the 47 now, Ole Miss. Don Smith, a man who played quarterback all year, missed a game and a half due to injury, is back in the second half at quarterback.
Whoa.
The option misses Kenny Rogers. He falls on it at the 41. Maybe a little rusty from sitting out 2 weeks.
This is a good way to get broken. He's going to, Freddie Joe Nunn is going to meet Don Smith. Bang, right there. And that's the type of play. Sometimes the defensive end will read the quarterback and play cat and mouse with him till the pitch comes, and sometimes the defensive assignment dictates the defensive end. Freddie Joe Nunn just take him out, and I think he took him out fairly effectively.
Ooh, third down 18 from the 42 now for the Bulldogs. Critical conversion situation for them. Smith's going to the air. It is complete to the 39-yard line for a first down to John Lowe. Number 84, John Lowe, the sophomore from Hamilton, Mississippi.
John Lowe got man-to-man coverage from Lee Davis. The idea is if you're alone like that, if you're out there on that island, try to slide to the inside in anticipation of that inside move.
Very big conversion play by Don Smith and John Lowe. The Bulldogs continue to drive. Ole Miss leads 7-0. Early moments of the third quarter from Jackson, Mississippi. Don Smith going upstairs again. There's Lowe, incomplete at the 3-yard line. All over him. Good coverage by Lee Davis. The Mississippi State fans want pass interference, but I think when you see this again, Tim, that it was excellent coverage by the left cornerback, junior Lee Davis.
Donnie Smith threw a couple of aerial bombshells against Auburn, and he put them right on the money, as is this ball. Lee Davis makes an excellent play, coming over the top and knocking the ball away. I believe that was prior to contact. Now, the Mississippi State people don't agree with me.
As the former defensive back, I thought you'd probably go a little bit toward the defensive back on that side, but I do agree with your call. A nice play by Davis on 2nd down 10. Smith with a lot of time. He's going long again. It's intercepted at the 3-yard line by Johnny Armstrong. Oh, what a difference he makes in that secondary. The pass was intended for 82 wingback Lewis Clark, but there's the man, Johnny Armstrong.
And Lewis Clark was open early. Johnny Armstrong made up a lot of time when the ball was in the air. And here's an interesting point for you. Tom Good, the offensive coordinator, recruited both Johnny Armstrong and Lee Davis while he was coaching in Mississippi. Good play by John Armstrong, the quarterback, the leader of the secondary.
And now he's sorry. Tom Good, the offensive coordinator for Mississippi State. Just as soon Armstrong wasn't out there. Humphrey is back in the game, number 40, a fullback for Ole Miss. 1st and 10 from their 3. And they hand off to the I-back out to the 7-yard line. Goes Nathan Wansley. Leon Cannon, the linebacker, with the tackle. So it's been a game of almost for Mississippi State this afternoon. They have thus far failed to get on the scoreboard. 2 interceptions now, one by Lundy and one by Don Smith.
Both these defenses like to blitz. I know Emery Ballard knows that, and when you've got man-to-man coverage and you've got people that can run like he can, like they do, and Donnie Smith that can throw the ball like he can, you got to try that stuff. You got to take it down there.
2nd down 7 from the 6-yard line. Austin's going to throw out of his end zone. Has time, and he's putting it upstairs, looking for Ambrose. Incomplete at the 45-yard line. Closest man to the ball actually was number 4, Bruce Plummer, the sophomore right cornerback. Ambrose, the deep threat, had a 77-yard touchdown reception earlier this year. Couldn't get onto that one.
But we saw Florida complete that same type of pass against Georgia, I believe it was, Bob, and that time Ambrose was behind Plummer. The ball just didn't get out there in time, and Ambrose has tremendous leaping ability. That time he jumped too soon, or he might have had a chance to make that reception.
It'll be 3rd down 7 for the Rebels from their own 6-yard line now. Double tight ends in this time on the 3rd and 7. Option play. Austin turning it upfield, gets to the 10 a little more, short of the 1st down by about 3 yards. They'll bring in their strong-legged punter, Bill Smith, who's 2nd in the nation in distance, 47.6. So if anybody can get Ole Miss out of this hole, they can. We talked about field position in the 1st half, and all the 1st half, it was Ole Miss way. Now the Bulldogs may have a chance for field position, and look who's back to take the punt. Number 1, former quarterback, Orlando Lundy. They said, get out from behind the center and back in there at the punt return. He is excellent at returning punts, by the way. Going to be tough this time. Great hang time. He'll fair catch at the 40. And that is where Mississippi State will start with their best field position of the afternoon. It's 7-0. Ole Miss leading the Bulldogs with 9:39 to go in the 3rd quarter. Billy Brewer's Rebels have a 7-0 lead with 9:39 to go in quarter number 3, but the Bulldogs have good field position at their own 40-yard line.
Standing behind Billy is Ron Case, defensive secondary coach. He's talking to Carl Torbush upstairs.
The 1st down, Don Smith at the quarterback position, rolling, getting some protection, throwing on the run. Complete. He's looking for 87 Art Mordecai.
Freddie Joe Nunn, nice job upfield, forcing Smith a little deeper than he'd like to go.
2nd down from the 40.
Going to see Freddie Joe here as the Mississippi State line turns down. Freddie Joe fights upfield, tries to get up. And
Mikael Williams did a good job on it.
Where you going, boy? Pulled him back down to the ground. Good job of blocking by Mikael Williams.
2nd down 10 from the 40. Slot right formation for the Bulldogs out of their triple option I formation. Don Smith throwing on the run again, incomplete again, looking for Mordecai again. Don Smith looking, frankly, a little bit rusty throwing the ball. I don't know if his follow-through is just right. Tim, you're the expert there. What would you think from just looking at him, from watching him yesterday throw a little bit in today?
It looked like there was a little confusion as you see the discussion between he and Mordecai on the pattern. Sometimes there's an option pattern being called, Bob, and as you know, if the weak safety is not deep in the middle of the field, the read for the flanker is take it upfield and take it deep.
Don Smith with a slight shoulder separation versus Alabama in his right or throwing shoulder. 3rd down 10 from the 40. Pressure. Number 82 had beaten his man deep, Lewis Clark, but he and the ball did not connect, and there is an Ole Miss player slow to get up. It's Bob Blakemore back at the 30-yard line. I think he will be all right. Terry Williamson with good quarterback pressure on Smith that time as he tried to get the ball deep. Failed. And the punting situation. We'll check on Blakemore to see if he'll be all right. Brian Hudson in to punt once again. Check that. It is Ronnie Green this time. They have 2 punters, Brian Hudson and Ronnie Green. This is number 16 Green punting this time, a freshman. Willie Goodlow down at the 17-yard line. 9:13 to go, 3rd quarter. Ole Miss 7, Bulldogs nothing. This is Turner Network Television. Hope you'll join us on most of these stations for the Hall of Fame Bowl from Legion Field, Birmingham, Alabama on December 29th at 8 o'clock. The projected matchups, they have not been officially announced, but a good shot that there will be Kentucky and Wisconsin in that game. That's what most of the talk is about. Wisconsin of the Big Ten's had some very big victories. They have closed their season out 7-3-1. Kentucky playing Tennessee in a very big matchup in the Southeastern Conference today. There's a look at the quarterback comparisons. As you can see, it's been all Austin and McKinney today. McKinney came in at the end of the first half when Austin had the breath knocked out. Austin recuperated and is back in there playing quarterback again. 1st and 15 following the penalty on the play from the 11-yard line. Austin. It is complete to number 81, Mario Perry.
Mississippi has played 3 people at tight end during the year. As you know, Bob, Mike Smith, Steve Joyner is the fellow with the real good hands, and Mario Perry is the fellow they decided was the best combination blocker receiver. Mom, please don't have babies.
Everybody comes to this game. You've got to have major situation to avoid this game. Apparently that wasn't major enough, so hold on there, Mom. 2nd and 7. Incomplete. Wide open right down the middle was Jamie Holder. That ball been a little bit higher. Holder had some 1st down and some open field to run in. Leon Cannon, the linebacker, tipped it number 42.
Well, Cannon's from Killian High School down in Miami, and he's an excellent athlete, a lot of speed and quickness from his linebacker position. They use him as a 5th defensive back. That time he had Holder covered on the initial move and then lost him as he looked back into the quarterback, and Jamie Holder almost worked himself free.
It'll be 3rd down 7. Ole Miss Rebel from the 18-yard line of Ole Miss. In Austin. Down he goes at the 14-yard line. Leon Cannon got him as he tried to scramble. Basically, Austin just could not find the receiver, and Ole Miss will give up the football. We've got another close one brewing here. Rebels 7, Bulldogs nothing. 3rd quarter.
Fine job of coverage here by the Mississippi State secondary. They're playing man-to-man underneath, 2 deep coverage behind it. Nobody home. Everybody's blanketed. Austin takes a sack.
Bill Smith will take the punt snap from his end zone. And there's Orlando Lundy. There's Smith. Under some pressure, he gets it away, and the up-back Mike Harper calls for the fair catch at the 46-yard line. Once again, the Bulldogs have maintained the best field position here in the 2nd half. 7:41 to go, 3rd quarter. Two of the ACC football teams who are bowl-bound, Maryland and Virginia. 24-14 Maryland at halftime. Texas losing to Baylor in the 2nd quarter. Being played in Waco. Clemson out in front of South Carolina. That 2nd quarter score also. Pittsburgh rolling over Penn State. 17-3. From the 46, 1st down. Don Smith decides to keep it. He is a yard or 2 shy of the original line of scrimmage down at the 43-yard line. Mike Fitzsimmons with the tackle.
another score. Kentucky in front of Tennessee, 7-3. SEC battle being played in Knoxville. First quarter score. That is always a matchup that's somewhat comparable to this matchup. Kentucky-Tennessee battle.
That's right. You really got to give Johnny Majors a lot of credit this year. We saw them early against Auburn, and I thought he'd be lucky to win 3 games this year. Just pulled that team together.
Second down, 11 from the 44. Don Smith going to the air again. Batted down. It was hit by Mike Fitzsimmons from the left tackle position. Don Smith having a whole lot of trouble since he came in place of Orlando Lundy. Smith is 1 out of 7 for 19 yards, and he is minus 13 yards running the ball.
Fitzsimmons, being double team, gets his hands up. That's one thing the coaches try to stress as the ball is being released. Get your hands up. And he's had a fine game. Just made a tackle on the prior play. Had an excellent block on a Timmy Moffitt punt return. He's really fired up.
3rd and 11 from the 44. Bulldogs have had excellent field position, but unable to take advantage thus far. Smith going long. Double coverage. That was intended for 84 John Lowe. Barry Wilburn was back there on the coverage. Number 27. See the words being exchanged between the Bulldog and the Rebel. There have been many exchanged over the years.
Mississippi State anticipating a blitz, tried to get someone down the deep middle. Wilburn, though, obviously has been studying the films, and he saw what a nice job Donnie Smith can do, firing the ball deep. He's back deep in the well. No good.
And Ronnie Green in punt for 16. That's way a line drive. Moffitt at his 17, looking for the wall. Out to the 23-yard line, where he's hit by number 21, Rodney Peters. And Ole Miss leading 7-0 with 6.5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter, back on offense. Next week, we will be in Nashville, Tennessee for another intrastate rivalry. The Tennessee Volunteers and the Commodores of Vanderbilt. Hope you'll join us for that matchup at noon Eastern time. Yes, noon Eastern time. It'll be 11 o'clock in Nashville, of course.
You're going to see some real offense next Saturday, too, with Page and Robinson going at it.
2 excellent quarterbacks. First down 10, 24, Ole Miss. Austin on the option. The tailback, Wansley got that little burst of speed that gets him out to the corner so effectively. Tripped up by Derek Richardson. We're going to pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. They'll spot it at the 33-yard line, where it will be 2nd down and a long one. You see the statistical story of the game. 6:27 to go in the 3rd quarter. Jackson, Mississippi Memorial Stadium. Crowd of 55,000 approximately here today for the 81st meeting between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Austin goes down. Number 40, Derek Richardson, shot in from the right side.
Got a mismatch on this play offensively and defensively, too. J.R. Ambrose was being covered by Cedric Corse, who is a linebacker, but it didn't make much difference as Derek Richardson, who alternates with Bill French at the right end position, dragged Austin to the ground before he had a chance to recognize anything.
Richardson with a couple of big plays here. Well, Mississippi State lost both of their starting defensive ends early in the year. They've had pretty good replacement from Richardson, French, Gattuso. On a 3rd and 12. Austin has time. Popped into the air. It is not intercepted, even though the defensive back held onto the ball, R.J. McKenna. He could not control the ball as he stepped out of bounds. So it simply goes an incompletion, and Bill Smith will come in to punt again.
Good call by Robert Crawford, the offensive coordinator, because Mississippi State has been sending that middle linebacker to contain Austin's rolling out, and tried to throw it back across the middle, and Andre Rogers had it, just couldn't hang on.
Lundy and Harper are back deep to take the Bill Smith punt. He gets away a cannon shot this time, although it's a little wobbly. Lundy takes it on the run. Driven down at the 42-yard line. Man making the play is number 67, Charlie Casper. 5:25 to go in the 3rd quarter. Penalty marker is on the play. This is Turner Network Television.
The The ACC title on the line with Maryland and Virginia. Maryland with the ball, quarterback Frank Reich looking for Sis Abdur-Rauf. He's wide open in the end zone, the touchdown. At one time, it was 14-3 Virginia. Now Maryland's on top at the half.
And there you go with that ACC score. There were nullifying penalties before we went away. Personal foul against the Bulldogs, holding against the Rebels. So they will punt it over again. Once again, Lundy and Harper will go back for Emory Ballard's Bulldogs, and Bill Smith will punt.
Emory Ballard went to Texas A&M, turned that program around there, got them into the winning ways. We were going to bowl games. 1 year, quit in the middle of the season, accepted the job at Mississippi State, been successful here.
Well, that worked out to the Bill Smith advantage in terms of distance of the punt. They nailed Lundy way back at the 30-yard line. So the nullifying penalties worked in favor of Ole Miss. The tackle made by number 57, Wayne Pierce, the center. And the Bulldogs take over at their own 30-yard line, trailing 7-0, 4:51 to go. Quarter number 3 from Jackson.
Mentioned Tom Goody, who's off the center for the Miami Dolphins, played his entire career in professional football, never missed a game. He was injured in 1970, hurt his knee. They operate on his knee, both wrists, and I'll finish the story after this play.
From the 30-yard line, first down. Smith gives to Kenny Rogers. He's got about 20 yards, 25, 27 or 8 yards, and he goes out of bounds on the far sideline at the 42-yard line of Ole Miss. Everett Flakes chased him out. We'll give him 28 yards on that carry. Rogers popping it right off the tackle and guard position.
What's the state offensive front? Like a Danny Sanders blowing some people out of there, and Stan Sims. That's all Kenny Rogers needed. Hit a hole, found a sideline, and if Flakes hadn't had that great speed, Kenny Rogers would have been history, 6 points.
From the 42 of Ole Miss, Bulldogs driving. On the option, Don Smith close to the first down. Inside the 35 to the 33, Barry Wilburn with the tackle. And Don Smith, who had such a rough start of the second half after he came in for Lundy, 1 of 8 passing for only 19 yards, seems to be getting a little bit of rhythm in the offense now.
I think you're right, Bob, and I think, as you mentioned before, what he does best is use his athletic ability. I mean, he's not a drop-back passer, and now they're letting him get into the scheme of things and run that option and be the threat that Mississippi was concerned about before the game started.
This could be a dangerous offensive opportunity, second down, short yardage. They just give it to the front man, Mikel Williams, to get the first down, which he does to the 30-yard line, none with the stop for Ole Miss. And now the Bulldogs trailing 7-0. Both teams have had numerous opportunities, but I think that the Rebels are going to really go back and rue the missed chip shot field goals that they had in that first half.
No question about it. I think emotionally it can work against you, even though you're moving the ball up and down the field. When you don't put anything in your pocket, it really can be disconcerting.
First down 10 from the 31-yard line. Bulldogs. Don Smith on the option to Kenny Rogers. Rogers driven out of bounds at the 22-yard line by 27, Barry Wilburn. And the Bulldogs offense getting on track. That option game getting tougher to stop now. Just inches shy of the first down.
Delivers that ball out there right on time to Kenny Rogers. Barry Wilburn up to take Rogers on, but Rogers a powerful running back with a really low center of gravity.
Second down inches from just outside the 20-yard line. Bulldogs. Fullback Mikel Williams to the 11-yard line. Flakes with a tackle. And finally, after 2 3/4 quarters, the Bulldog fans have something to cheer about. Their team threatening.
See Harburn, Sims blocking down Sanders. Williams finds the crack. We mentioned that the Mississippi defense has had problems in the second half. They just seem to get worn down. They play with so much emotion and intensity, and they're not very big physically.
On the first down 10, here is Rogers. He got inside the 10 to about the 9 before he's driven back. Buzzy Huddleston with the hit.
Huddleston there, Blakemore and Fitzsimmons. Anyway, we're talking about Tom Good. He went home. He went back to Mississippi. He's from just outside Starkville. Of course, went to Mississippi State, and The Dolphins tried to bring him back at the end of the year, tried to activate him when they had injury problems. Before the Dolphins could claim him, the Baltimore Colts claimed him, and he ended up playing the Super Bowl for Baltimore.
Second down, 8 from the 9-yard line. Bulldogs threatening, trailing 7-0. There's the handoff to the fullback, Mikel Williams, who got only a couple of yards. Benton Reed with a stop, and this Ole Miss defensive unit toughening up inside their 10-yard line. So here comes a critical play for the Bulldogs. Third down and about 7. And there's a timeout on the field. Well, I thought there was a timeout. Check that. Substitution happening, but no timeout. Don Smith getting the play as it's run in from the sideline by number 87, Art Mordecai. And the Bulldogs are only 2 out of 8 on third down conversions from the 8-yard line of Ole Miss. Don Smith wants to take it upstairs. Batted down by 75, Dan Boyce. Big defensive play by Dan Boyce, the linebacker, who's been injured much of this year. And in comes the field goal unit.
That's when you want people like Dan Boyce in the football game, when you need a big play. He goes high into the air on that bad ankle. Converted lineman. They needed some help on defense. They taught him how to be a linebacker in a few weeks, and he's the signal caller in the heart of that defense when he's in there.
25-yard field goal attempt by Artie Cosby. It is good. We have a 7-3 ball game with 1:42 to go in the third quarter. Well, Cosby, the man whose field goal attempt was blown back between the crossbars last year in an attempt to win the game 24-23, hits one of his field goals here. He had 3 against LSU last week. He's been a vital cog in the Bulldogs offense, and they do avoid the shutout. They had the big goose egg, which I guess is appropriate for the battle for the golden egg, up until just then, and it's 7-3.
They took advantage of their only real scoring opportunity in this game, Bob. As you mentioned earlier, Mississippi has been down there close several times and come away with nothing.
Back goes Lee Davis at his own goal line. I'd like to thank the SIDs for helping us in our preparation today. The sports information directors, Bo Carter from Mississippi State, and by the way, Bob Hartley, who is retiring at the end of the year, working his last game today after a distinguished career. Bobbled kickoff. And here goes Lee Davis. It's a foot race. Number 4, the only man that can catch him is Plummer, and he cannot get there. It is a touchdown. There are no penalty flags.
So often it happened, Bob, a little muff by the man back there to catch the kickoff, and the kickoff team, the coverage team, lets up just slightly. The short time of overconfidence, and that time Lee Davis broke a couple of tackles, and Zippo.
Here's Howard for the point after. 97 yards on the kickoff return by Lee Davis. Kickoff return in Ole Miss history. Point after is good. Ole Miss 14, the Bulldogs of Mississippi State 3.
Going to see it again. He loses his concentration a little bit, finds the football, fights his way through a couple of people, beats the kicker, and now, as you mentioned earlier, Bob, only Plummer can catch him. And Lee Davis doesn't shorten up. Sometimes in a long run like that, you'll see, especially in defensive back, the stride begin to shorten and somebody with an angle catch him. But Lee Davis, the man that has made some big plays on defense for Mississippi all year long. 3 interceptions this year, 7 passes broken up, had a 100-yard interception return called back versus Tulane. He got his 97-yard kickoff return this time.
The Ole Miss record was 100 yards. Vernon Studdard had that back in 1974. This one 97 yards by Lee Davis. There was a penalty, by the way, after that touchdown for probably I did not see the flag thrown, but oftentimes for excessive celebration, which is unsportsmanlike conduct, and they have penalized, and they'll be kicking off after a 10-yard penalty now.
I think that you could definitely accuse the Mississippi fans of excessive celebration on that 97-yarder.
Somehow it doesn't sound that criminal, does it? This is John Lowe, number 84, up to the 38-yard line, and down he goes. John Lowe, the 31-yard kickoff return, tripped up by 42 Everett Place. And the Bulldogs have to see if they can maintain now the offensive thrust that they had when they got down for the field goal prior to this. By the way, their quarterback, Don Smith, has thrown 8 straight incompletions. He is 1 of 9 throwing the football. First down 10. Had a man wide open, number 82, Lewis Clark, but he just missed him. 9 straight incompletions. He completed his first pass, did Smith, and since then has not been able to connect.
Mordecai was open down the middle, too. Don Smith's percentage of completion is rather low simply because they don't throw a lot of dump-offs. When they throw the ball, they're throwing it down the field, and they're going after the big chunks. It's kind of interesting. For a while there in the third period, after a back-and-forth raucous first half, things had kind of settled down, and all of a sudden it exploded again.
Second down 10 from the 38, Don Smith. It's complete finally inside Ole Miss territory for a first down to the 48-yard line. Art Mordecai with the reception. So now Smith goes to 2 out of 11. Big completion, however.
Mordecai working against Joe Nathan Shelley, comes down, a little hook. Smith delivers it on time. Might not be a bad idea to let him throw a couple of passes like that just as confidence builders, as Austin got started for Mississippi early in the game.
Mordecai playing his last game, the senior, for the Mississippi Bulldogs, Mississippi State. Handoff to number 21, Rodney Peters, the freshman from Atlanta. His first carry of this football game. All-American high school player. Peters is 6'1", 215, a freshman. Listening there, you see Joe Este, who we've been talking about, Tim, who came into this game playing hurt. You see the apparatus on his right foot.
He's got an ankle problem, and Tom Good said he'd play if he could, but he really wasn't expecting him to play. He thought Drake Hurley would see most of the action, but Este really gutting it up.
It'll be second down 8 from the 44-yard line with mere seconds remaining in the third quarter. Bulldogs inside Rebel territory. Here's Don Smith. Keeping to the 38-yard line. He is close to the first down as the clock ticks down, ending the third quarter with the Rebels leading the Bulldogs 14-3. The second touchdown coming on a 97-yard kickoff return by Lee Davis. This is Turner Network Television. There's the scoring by quarters. Ole Miss scoring on a 1-yard plunge by Nathan Wansley in the first quarter after a 44-yard pass completion. Ken Austin to James Harbor, and then the 97-yard kickoff return by Lee Davis. A field goal, the only score for Mississippi State thus far. Fourth and final quarter. Not much there. It is not a first down. Michael Portis stopping Mikel Williams. And now you're getting into the fourth quarter, and here's decision time possibly for Emory Ballard. Does he go for it? Indications are he's going to. Number 44 is Elmer Wilson, the wingback, running play.
They employ a wingback almost like another tight end. Bob, they rarely line up with 2 tight ends.
Fourth down and 1 long yard at the 38-yard line of Ole Miss. They give it to number 21, Peters, and he's close. I think he did not get there. I believe the Ole Miss Rebels have held. Let's watch the mark. Ole Miss has held.
Tremendous effort here. Number 60, Michael Portis fighting off a block, and underneath it all, Mike Fitzsimmons, number 71, who has had a premier performance today.
First down 10, Ole Miss from the 38-yard line. They lead 14-3, 14:06 to go in this ball game. Austin looking for Harbor, double covered, almost intercepted at the 25-yard line. Double coverage by 7 Jackson and 27 Nichols down there on Harbor. He had 5 catches in the first half, and they've shut him down here in the second.
Well, they've gotten away a little bit from the style of offense that they were employing early in the first quarter. A lot of those quick screens, quick outs to the wide side. I think that time they were looking for the blitz from Mississippi State, and the momentum provider, and Mississippi was trying to go up over the top.
Second down 10, Ole Miss. Plenty of time left in this ball game. Believe me, there have been some crazy fourth quarters in this series. Ken Austin couldn't get rid of it. Everybody was covered, and down goes Austin right at the line of scrimmage. Corse and Pearson were there to combine on the tackle.
Nothing home on this play. As you see Gattuso fighting off a block, working to the outside. There's Corse. Pearson just does cover a lot of ground from the middle.
Now third down 10, the 38. 3 out of 9 times Ole Miss has converted this third down today. Austin, 4-man rush, good protection. It is complete to Timmy Moffitt at the 48-yard line of Mississippi State. Kirby Jackson covering, and Moffitt comes up with his third catch of the afternoon. All have been big catches.
Austin has to put this one on the money. Kirby Jackson is covering Moffitt underneath. He's got deep help, and Timmy Moffitt uses the sidelines, gets his feet down as well as any receiver I've seen.
First down 10, Rebels at the 48 of the Bulldogs. 14-3 the score, Ole Miss leading. The 81st renewal of the rivalry that began in 1901. Down goes Arthur Humphrey. Nothing happening there as Aaron Pearson steps in there again and makes his 7th initial hit tackle of the game.
Mississippi State playing much more coverage in the second half. They're employing that man-to-man underneath defense with 2 deep defensive backs. In the first half, they were a little bit more aggressive. They were blitzing more, but it was ineffective simply because Austin was moving out of the pocket.
Second down 8, 46, Rebels. Humphrey and Nathan Wamsley, the running backs. Austin going to throw. Deep drop, looked like he was trying to set up a screen, couldn't find it, now he's running. He had about 3 or 4 yards before he's chased out of bounds at the 42 by Derek Richardson, playing the defensive right end position today. Good quarterback pressure there by 93 Mike Gattuso.
That's exactly right, Bob. He's trying to set up the screen here. As he drifts back and looks to his left, he sees a bulldog there, can't throw it. He's looking down the gun of Elvis Butler, scoots away, and Richardson chases him all the way down from his defensive right end position.
What would be intimidating about Butler? He's only 6'5", 290.
I think it's his breath.
No, I'm just locomotive. He probably brought garlic just for this game. Third down 4 from the 42 now. Ken Austin, knowing this is a critical play, calls timeout. It's the first of the 3 timeouts of this half for Ole Miss, and those timeouts could become critical later. We'll be back right after this. It's Rebels 14, Bulldogs 3. This is Turner Network Television. Coach Foley, it's time for your prediction on this third down call after the timeout.
I think that Mississippi State is going to go with pressure. Mississippi has gone back to the alignment they started the game with. You could look for a quick screen or maybe an O-cut to Holder who's in the slot.
Austin is going to throw. Now he's running. Saw the the available territory and ran for the first down. Of course, with the tackle. So Ken Austin came up there and elected very quickly to tuck it in and run for the first down. As you said, Mississippi State was in coverage, giving him the space.
This was a designed run all the way, Bob. All the receivers just clearing out. Eric Sheehan escorting Ken Austin down the field. Pearson tries to get there to make the stop, but Austin fights his way for the first down.
At the 35-yard line of Mississippi State. Important drive for the Rebels here, and the Bulldogs are going to have to come up with a big defensive play. Here's Nathan Wansley, only a couple of yards off the left side. Now throws at about the 31-yard line. Mississippi State playing that 4-3 defense that, of course, became so famous in professional football in the decade of the 70s. The 4-3 or the 3-4 is about all you saw. In colleges, the last 40-something games we've done, we've seen a 4-3 only 2 or 3 times.
That's exactly right. Some people try to get the same effect as the 4-3 by playing a 4-4.
This is second down 6 from the 31 for Ole Miss. Austin on a draw only to the 28-yard line. That third down conversion comes up again. Ball control by the Rebels here. They have amassed a lot of possession time in this football game.
We had talked about Elvis Butler. One of the things he's developed is a reputation as a hustler. Last year, the word was out that after 10 or 12 plays, he'd start to lay down a little bit, but this year he's really come to life, both he and Swopes dominating the middle.
On a third down 4. Austin with time. Has a man open. It's Holder. Down at the 19-yard line. R.J. McKenna with the tackle. Ole Miss converts again and keeps the drive alive.
Not an easy pass to throw going to your left. Austin collects himself, rifles it out low into the outside. When you're throwing the ball to the outside perimeter, as R.J. McKenna gets there and gives Jamie Holder a headache. When you're throwing the ball to that first level, to those receivers in that 10-yard pattern, throw it low to the outside.
First and 10 from just inside the 20-yard line. Wansley pops it right down the middle, touchdown.
Exactly what happened to the Dallas Cowboys against the New England Patriots. You see R.J. McKenna, number 25, weak safety blitz. Now there is no more perimeter in depth. Once you get by the initial thrust of the defense, you can run as long as you want to. Nathan Wansley, fine job up front by Wayne Pierce, Bobby Clark, Tony Rayburn.
It's 21-3 with 10:04 to go in this football game. We'll be right back. Nathan Wansley's second touchdown of the day makes it 21-3 Rebels.
What's the offensive left guard here, Bob? He cleans out McKenna and Pearson. It clears the way for Nathan Wansley. Where is everybody?
Bill Smith, number 10, with the kickoff for Ole Miss. Back deep are Peters, 21, and Lowe, number 84, for the Bulldogs. Peters at his 3. Down at the 20-yard line, just outside the 20, goes Rodney Peters, and there's Mississippi State Bulldogs. Hurting for certain at the moment. We've had some wild finishes prior to this. 62 yards on the drive, 10 plays, consuming 4 minutes on the clock, and Wansley kept it with a 20-yard run that you just saw. The Bulldogs now down by 18 points will obviously have to go back to the air where they have not been successful today. Don Smith. Down he goes at the 15. Jay Webb, number 96, with the initial contact. The passing game for the Bulldogs has just been crippled today.
Well, this is the Mississippi defense that we're used to seeing. Look at Terry Williamson fight to keep his feet coming upfield, and Jay Webb nails Smith from around the outside. Last time we saw Jay Webb play, he had 2 dislocated thumbs.
It'll be 2nd down 15 now. It's line of scrimmage at the 15-yard line for the Bulldogs. Alan Smith rolling and looking. It is complete this time to the 25-yard line. Lewis Clark, the wingback, knocked out of bounds by Freddie Joe Nunn, short of the first down by 5 yards. 3rd down 5 now for the Bulldogs, with the clock down to 9:09 in this game, and Ole Miss leading 21-3.
I think what you have to do is get Smith moving. Let him roll out. Stretch out that Mississippi defense. If he can't find anybody open, he's got the athletic ability to run for the first down.
3rd and 5. Here comes a blitz. They pick it up well. It is picked off by Lee Davis at the 36-yard line. John Lowe, the intended receiver. This is Turner Network Television. Let's look at it again. Here's the interception play.
The timing pattern all the way, Bob. Man-to-man coverage as you see Fuzzy Huddleston rushing Don Smith. But Lee Davis was all over the intended receiver, John Lowe.
9:03 to go in the game. So the interception puts it on the 36-yard line of the Bulldogs. There's Lee Davis. What an afternoon that gentleman's had. A 97-yard kickoff return to go with his interception. Austin, pressure from Pearson. Incomplete at the 30. Both players wanting an interference call there. Mainly the defensive player Cannon on Holder, but none was coming. Good pressure on Austin that time. Pearson.
And again, you're going to see Pearson blitzing up through the middle. They're not really counting on him coming in that hole. Nobody's responsible for picking up the middle linebacker, not concerned about it. Austin unloads it. Throws it low and away, so if Holder can't get it, nobody can. And Lee Davis, the interception, the kickoff return, and a big pass broken up late in the 2nd quarter down the middle, and a long one from Orlando Lundy.
Humphrey and Mickles, the backs in there now. Here's Austin keeping it to the 29-yard line. And Austin seems to be shaken up on the play. Was hit by R.J. McKenna just prior to the whistle. And a little slow to get up, and they're looking over at David McKinney, the freshman quarterback again. Over here on the near side. We'll check on the condition of Ken Austin. What a pounding he has taken all year long. 8:43 remaining in this game. There's the hit. That was prior to the whistle. In case you're wondering whether or not it was a late hit or not.
And they would have called that if McKenna had come in with his helmet. But he pulled off with his helmet. He just came in with his chest and arms. But what he did was he snapped Austin's neck down. And that's the one area of the body that you're really concerned about as a football player.
Hope you'll join us on December 29th for our telecast of the Hall of Fame Bowl from Birmingham, Alabama. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on December 29th, a Saturday night, Birmingham. The projected teams are, official announcements not out yet, but the projected teams are Kentucky and Wisconsin, a Southeastern Conference Big Ten matchup. Sounds like a good one to us, and we hope you'll join us. Still working on Ken Austin over on the far side. While we have the moment, as you see Austin getting up there, wanted to thank Langston Rogers, the sports information director for Ole Miss, and his associate, Rick Van Brimmer, for their aid in our preparation of the game. And Rick wanted to be sure and say hello to his folks in Delaware, Ohio, watching the game this afternoon. Austin appears to be okay.
He's being escorted off the field by Leroy Mullins, the Ole Miss trainer.
And McKinney is coming back in the football game. McKinney was in right before the end of the half, and there comes Ken Austin. He appears to be okay, and let's certainly hope that is the case. We'll get a further update if there's anything to report.
Ken Austin has been under a lot of pressure, and he has absorbed a lot of the criticism in terms of the ineffectiveness of the Mississippi offense. But he certainly had a remarkable game today.
219 yards in the air. Now Quentin Pitts, Arthur Humphrey, the running backs in there for Ole Miss on a 3rd and 6. And the new quarterback, freshman David McKinney. There's a reverse to Rogers. They swing it out wide, and Rogers scampers down the sidelines to the 6-yard line. Andre Rogers on the reverse. Big play, and who would have expected that one coming off an injury? While they were checking on Ken Austin, the Ole Miss coaches were busy.
Perfect play selection here. Man-to-man coverage by Mississippi State. Bill French responsible for containment on that play. Andre Rogers just had enough speed to drive it deep around the containment and then upfield. Picked up some good blocks, and Cedric Horse saves a touchdown.
21-3. Rebels leading. 8:04 to go in the game. First down goal from the 5. Power formation. Here's Wansley to the 4. Just inside the 4.
Been down in this situation twice before. They tried to hammer it up the middle, and then on 4th down failed on 2 field goal attempts. So look for him to do something a little bit more wide open now.
By the way, we're talking about Ken Austin. He has tied Archie Manning now for most games of going over 200 yards passing in his career. This is his 9th time to do that. 2nd and goal from the 4. McKinney. Incomplete. Looking for Quentin Pitts in the end zone. And it'll be 3rd down goal from the 3. 7:20 to go in the game.
David McKinney had Mario Perry wide open in the end zone. Of course, it's easy to see from up here, and he's down there running away from all those Bulldogs, but Mario Perry had slipped wide open into the end zone. I'm sure he's going to regret not seeing him in the film room on Monday.
3rd down, goal from the 4. Almost picked off in the end zone. The pass falls incomplete. Diving for it, number 7, Kirby Jackson. It had been intended for Tim Moffitt. And in comes John Howard to attempt a field goal here. It is 21-3 with 7:13 to go in the game.
An exceptional job of coverage by Kirby Jackson on that play. The receivers in a goal line situation, they'll come down the field and they'll lean into you and push off a little bit. They never get called for it. And Timmy Moffitt, being a good receiver, did just that. Kirby Jackson fought his way to the outside to break that pass up.
John Howard connects on this one. He missed 2 in the first half, but he hits this one, and it is 24-3 with 7 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in the game from Jackson, Mississippi. Ole Miss in front. This is Turner Network Television. Bill Smith set to kick off for Ole Miss. Hadley and Peters are back at the goal line for the Bulldogs. They are at the wrong end of a 24-3 score here. Ole Miss has dominated this football game and could be leading by even more than this had they converted on some first half opportunities. Smith kicks this one out of the end zone on the fly. It'll come out to the 30-yard line for the Bulldogs.
Bill Smith, he's built like a linebacker, not a punter, but he wants to concentrate just on kicking. And it's worked out well for him here at Ole Miss.
He's just 0.2 of a yard behind Ricky Anderson of Vanderbilt, who is the nation's leading punter. So Bill Smith is 2nd in the nation, and when you're in the SEC, that usually means you're also 2nd in the conference, which was the case. He could move up today, though. He's had a good day. Don Smith under a lot of pressure. There's that athletic ability we're talking about. Don Smith out of bounds after he gets about 3 yards on the broken play. Great pressure by Ole Miss, Mike Fitzsimmons, and Donnie Smith just ran out of bounds.
Fitzsimmons has had an exceptional day today. Youngster from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
He's the fellow who helped clean up the neighborhood up there.
Right. Found some of his neighbors that were selling some illegal substances and informed them if they continued that kind of activity, they would be damaged.
Smith Almost picked off by Lee Davis. He was looking for Art Mordecai, and frankly, it's obviously impossible for me to know, but Don Smith, playing with his slightly separated shoulder, looks like he just doesn't follow through, and that ball has been sailing on him today.
You wouldn't expect him to be overthrowing the ball if it was bothering him, but I'm sure that that's a possibility. Whenever you're out for a week and a half and you do have something like that, it's a painful injury, and sometimes it limits the mobility of your shoulder and the rotation of the throw.
3rd and 6 from the 34. Don Smith under a lot of pressure, got a good block there, and he completes this one out to the 49-yard line to Corwin Aldrich, the tight end. First down, Bulldogs. 6:42 remains in this game. Fitzsimmons again with the quarterback pressure. And the folks with the Ole Miss pennants are waving them mightily at the moment. We don't see a whole lot of activity from the Bulldogs folks at the moment, trailing 24-3.
Although the Bulldogs don't have a good record, they've played good football all year long. They were ahead of Alabama at halftime, ahead of Auburn at halftime, ahead of Florida at halftime. They've just been tough all year long. They have not come out on top. They've got a young football team. 21 of his first 22 on defense will come back for Mississippi State as they check a player out on the sideline.
By the way, concerning injured players, we'll check on the identity of that youngster, but Ken Austin, the Ole Miss quarterback, who went out of the game on a tackle just minutes ago, is on the sideline with ice pack on his right shoulder. So that's the best we can tell you right now about Kent Austin, who threw for 219 yards. There he is, right in the center of your screen with the helmet off, and obviously finished for the afternoon. It looks like Corwin Aldrich, the tight end for the Bulldogs, the man who caught the pass, is the fellow that they're still attending to on the sideline for the Bulldogs. Let's see if we can see him. There's the Ken Austin hit. McKenna, the man who's hitting him there after he went down. Might mention there was no penalty on that, as the whistle had not sounded. Penalty marker goes down as the play gets off, and that pass is complete. They're ruling it complete at the 39, even though the ball bounced loose out of the hands of Lewis Clark. There was also a penalty marker at the line of scrimmage. Jimmy Harper, today's official. It was against Ole Miss.
See Lewis Clark working against zone coverage here. Armstrong sliding out to the outside. Stephen Cunningham breaking on the ball. It didn't look like he had possession of the football, but it doesn't make any difference. First down, Bulldogs.
From the 39-yard line of Ole Miss in the slot right formation. Don Smith. Intercepted. 27 is Barry Wilburn. And he goes out of bounds at the 18, and once again, Don Smith has overthrown his intended receiver. This time, another interception. That is his 3rd interception and the 4th interception of the day for the Bulldogs.
Lewis Clark, they're in a slot formation. Lewis Clark heading straight down the field. Breaks to the outside a little bit late. Barry Wilburn, in anticipation of that pattern, had headed out there earlier. Makes the catch. Barry Wilburn. Fine year for Mississippi. That's his 2nd interception on the year.
David McKinney continues to quarterback the Ole Miss Reds. Ken Austin sits on the sideline with an ice pack on his shoulder. Ole Miss 24, Mississippi State 3. Here's McKinney. He's turning upfield to run. He's to the 25-yard line. Clock ticking down now inside 6 minutes. 5:44 remaining in the game.
Woody Sowen, the offensive right tackle for Mississippi. A nice block on that play. Woody was kind of famous the last time we were here, Bob.
He's the fellow who came all the way from the scout team to being a spotter in the broadcast booth to starting for Ole Miss earlier in the year. He had 3 careers in 1 week. Now he's back in there playing. 2nd down 3 for Ole Miss. They get the first down to the 31. That's Robert Smith, the freshman fullback. Leon Cannon with the tackle. Emory Ballard having himself a long afternoon here in Jackson today. The Mississippi State Bulldogs were favored in this game, but that is meaningless, as anyone who has followed this 81-year-old series will tell you.
outcome that I had anticipated. And I know there was concern on the Mississippi side about their ability to play with these big physical Mississippi State folks.
Number 24, Willie Goodlow, stood up at the 34-yard line by Stuart Whitener, left side linebacker. Starting to see now a lot of different players entering the game. Ken Austin, you see the tape under his chin. That's 8 stitches from the game last week. He has an ice pack on his right shoulder from the game this week. Had the breath knocked out of him and missed several plays right before halftime. That youngster has been beat around. He is a junior and has an opportunity to become a Rhodes Scholar. First, he needs to have his body healed. I'm sure is his primary consideration. Second down, 8 from the 34. Just running it up the middle. The Rebels running out the clock with Robert Smith, the fullback. And this is where we're going to see a bunch of players in there for Ole Miss, and they're pretty deep at the running back position. Wansley and Humphrey start, but you have Nichols and Goodlow behind the tailback, and Smith and Pitts behind the fullback, and they can keep doing that for you. Some youngsters. And Ole Miss is a young, building offensive team. You're going to see some high-powered offense from this football club. We've seen some today as they lead 24-3. 3:44 to go in the game. And a mix up the line of scrimmage. Penalty markers drop.
Okay, let me tell you what happened there. Kenny at the line of scrimmage, just barking out numbers. Had the snap count coming on 4 or 5, just trying to get the opposition to jump. The center, Wayne Pierce, looking for the Bulldogs to come across the line of scrimmage. On the inflection of the voice, and he just snapped the ball on his own.
There's the call offsides against the Bulldogs. Everything has gone against the Bulldogs today, I'm sure, is what their opinion is. It's interesting when you take a look at the stands, and this happens in almost every kind of game, but the Mississippi State side clearing out, and these Rebels are staying here to savor every moment. 3rd and 2 from the 40, Ole Miss. Willie Goodlow. Inside the 45 to the 43, tripped up by Eric Mell, number 94, the left end. Goodlow, the freshman from Layton, Alabama.
First down. And he is explosive, as you see. Tony Rayburn, Woody Sowen clearing the way for Willie Goodlow. See it again from a field level view. Looked like Willie got caught by the blade of grass there, wanted to go faster than his legs would take him.
3 minutes remaining in the game. 1st and 10, Ole Miss. McKinney, Goodlow again. Nothing happening this time. Down at the 42-yard line. We'll conclude our regular season SEC game next week in Nashville with Vanderbilt and University of Tennessee. Maryland defeating Virginia. There are the scores. I'm getting to them. Clemson leading South Carolina in the 3rd quarter. Pittsburgh ahead of Penn State 24-11 in the 3rd quarter. And a close one with Kentucky and Tennessee. Next week's Vanderbilt opponent, which we'll have for you at noon Eastern time. 17-0 Brigham Young in front of Utah State, the #1 ranked team in the country. North Carolina leading Duke at halftime by a point. That's Pat Swopes, the defensive right tackle for Mississippi State, junior, who's one of the best defensive tackles in the league.
Tri-captain for those Bulldogs. He's had a fine year for them. You know, one of the things that concerned Billy Brewer coming into this game, that his Rebels have had to play with such emotion, you wonder how many times you can get yourself ready to go. But I guess when it comes to Mississippi State, everything else is history, huh?
2nd and 8 from the 41-yard line. Ole Miss. 2:22 to go in the game now. Here's Willie Goodlow. Finds the seam with the good speed. They say he steps out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Back to the 16-yard line after a 24-yard run by Willie Goodlow. He's tacking up some yardage now in a substitute role.
Mississippi just really running out the clock here. Robert Smith out in front leading the way. You see Sowen, another good block. Goodlow finds a crack. He's heading for the promised land. Brian Hudson knocks him out of bounds.
10 again, just outside the 16-yard line. Here's Goodlow again. Arrives to about the 12. He's only 5'7", 165. Just a tiny sip of water, that youngster, but has the incredible acceleration.
As you mentioned, he's a freshman. Joe Mickles is a freshman. Another tailback, Robert Smith, the fullback, a freshman. Quentin Pitts, a freshman.
Entire freshman backfield in there right now, as we had pointed out earlier. McKinney, Smith, and Goodlow, and timeout has been called on the field and charged to Mississippi State with 1:46 remaining in this football game. And there is Billy Brewer, finishing his second year as head coach at Ole Miss. He is an Ole Miss blue blood. That is a term, if you're an Ole Miss graduate, that you look upon with a great deal of pride, unless someone from Mississippi State says you're an Ole Miss blue blood.
Played for Johnny Vaught here, part of their tradition, and it's been a discouraging year for him. I think that Billy said at the beginning of the year he felt like this might be a better football team, but he wasn't sure if they could have as good a record as they had last year.
And in fact, that's what's happened. And we saw Ole Miss earlier with Auburn and with Georgia, and they played very tough, but just couldn't seem to get anything loose going on offense. They changed that offensive philosophy, and now have just exploded for some points here in the second part of the season. Next week we'll be in Nashville, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Noon Eastern time, the battle of the Volunteer State. Tennessee will be favored in that football game, but just like this game here in Mississippi, you can throw the favorites roll out, as was the case today. Second down and 5 from the 11. Goodlow again, nowhere this time, lost about a yard. Penetration by Cedric Corse with his 5th tackle of the afternoon. That's another freshman for Mississippi State. We're talking about all the Ole Miss freshmen. You've got French, Clausel, Corse, Harper, Hudson, Malcolm Barnes, all freshmen for Mississippi State on the defensive unit. And they have several offensive freshmen too, like Peters is going to be an exceptional tailback, number 21, who played today. And Lundy and Don Smith, their quarterbacks, are only sophomores.
Right. 50 out of 102 players that they have are freshmen.
Third down 8 from the 14. McKinney into the end zone. Incomplete. It was caught, but caught out of the end of the end zone. That was Joyner with the reception. Excuse me, Tim.
Kind of an unusual call at this point in time in the game. Joyner wide open. Of course, Mississippi State just playing to run. Would like this to be over as soon as possible.
1:02 remaining in the ball game. Ole Miss 24. Mississippi State Bulldogs 3. This is 4th down. McKinney's throwing it up there again. Moffitt going for it again. There's bad blood between these two teams, and it won't get any better. Ole Miss going for the touchdown here toward the end of the game. That was a 4th down play. The ball goes over to Mississippi State. And the Bulldogs will have 2 timeouts remaining in 57 seconds if they think they can get anything on the scoreboard in that time, having to start from their own 14-yard line. About the only thing good from Mississippi State's perspective today has been the weather. High cirrus clouds, much like good flying weather for Air Foley, right?
25,000 scattered.
And now freshman quarterback Jason Martin goes into the ball game for the Bulldogs. He's a freshman. He's 6 feet tall, 185 pounds. He hands off to 38 Mikel Williams, who gets it out to about the 13. Not much more than that. Clock ticking down. That'll probably be all that Mississippi State's Bulldogs will do here. They are electing not to use their timeouts, down 24-3, and as Tim said, happy to get away from here today. No need to prolong the agony.
Both coaching staffs have done a fine job throughout the year. Both these teams have a bright future, I would say, next year.
Clock down to 20 seconds. Freshman on the option. And he takes his punishment down at the 23. The penalty marker goes down also with 12 seconds remaining in this football game. Most of the bowl situations will be settled by the end of this day. There's face mask called against Freddie Joe Nunn of Ole Miss.
There's Langston Rogers and the man stroking his chin, sports information director for Mississippi, and Billy Brewer. Got to be happy about this one. He'll make those. Mississippi had never lost 7 games in a row, and that's what he was looking at going into this particular outing. Clock ticking down.
This is the last play of the game, and almost symbolically, down goes the quarterback. 42 Flakes had a hold of him back at the 15-yard line. This game is history. The 81st meeting between Ole Miss and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Billy Brewer very happy to get out of here with an upset win over Mississippi State, 24-3. This is Turner Network Television.
A major upset in the making right here. Baylor with the ball. Quarterback Cody Carlton to Derek McAdoo for a touchdown. Baylor goes on top of Texas. We'll update this one for you in a few moments, but right now it is 14-10. Baylor on top of Texas. I'm Craig Sager along with Paul Horning. We'll have highlights and scores from all over the country, but first, let's go back to Tim Foley in Jackson, Mississippi.
Ole Miss with a 24-3 victory today, and on the sidelines, holding the Golden Egg, head coach at Ole Miss, completing his 2nd year, Coach Bill Brewer. Coach, congratulations, and hold us that trophy there so we can see it a little better. There you go. Get another round of applause from the Ole Miss crowd down there. Coach Brewer, first of all, your offense today was much more explosive and deep-looking than when we saw you earlier in the year. Tell us about your change in the offense here to the end of the season.
Well, we've been wanting to throw the ball a lot all season long, but we've had difficulty with an offensive line. We've had a different group of kids start every week with the exception of the first game of the season. And then we lose 2 kids this week as potential starters and an outstanding football player in Greg Walker. We didn't have another offensive lineman, I don't think, that we really could have substituted today, but we came to throw. We knew Mississippi State was going to put a lot of blitzes, give us a lot of different looks. I thought our kids handled it extremely well.
How about a review of Ken Austin's performance? We had talked earlier about the fact that Ken had been under a lot of pressure and taken a lot of heat. He certainly came out on top today, didn't he?
Well, he's a class young man. He knows that, when you lose, that everybody's going to point the finger at somebody. And, I want him to point it at me because I'm the head coach, not the kids. But he's taking some undue pressure there, but he's handled it well, and he performed well, and I guess he will shut all the noise down with that performance.
Well, you had a lot of youngsters in there today. At one time, Coach, you had an entirely freshman backfield, and that must make you feel good looking to 1985.
Well, we're excited about what's the future of Ole Miss, and our coach has done a great job. Our kids have, and we're looking forward to 1985.
Coach Billy Brewer, the Ole Miss Rebels, congratulations, Coach, and we're looking forward to seeing you in 85.
Thank you. Great job by WTBS.
Thank you very much. Coach Billy Brewer, the head coach of Ole Miss, a great star as a player, and now today a victorious coach in the 81st renewal of the rivalry of the Magnolia State. The final score, Ole Miss 24, Mississippi State Bulldogs 3. Next week, we'll be in Nashville, Tennessee for the Volunteers of Tennessee and the Commodores of Vanderbilt, noon Eastern Time, here on Turner Network Television. So this afternoon, the Mississippi State Bulldogs came in here 2.5 to 3-point favorites, but they just weren't prepared for this kind of action. Lee Davis with a fumble on the kickoff. He picked up his own bobbled ball and then ran 97 yards. And this made it 14-0 and really started the momentum really switching over toward the side of Ole Miss. Up until that time, the ball game had remained a defensive struggle with the exception of one touchdown drive by the Ole Miss Rebels. But Lee Davis, who had an interception to go along with his 97-yard kickoff return, and the Ole Miss Rebs win today by a score of 24-3. From Jackson, Mississippi, Coach Billy Brewer taking home the Golden Egg. Coming up next on most of these stations, the Football Action Report. Speaking for Tim Foley, this is Bob Neal. So long, everybody.